Hi, hi everyone.
Welcome to BACA Summit 2026. My name is Kayade Dolapo. I'm the CEO of BACA, and with me is
My name is Ige Adedolapo. I'm the community manager of BACA. Welcome everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. This is BACA Summit June edition. We are glad to have you here with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We love to meet you. So we love that you please drop in the comment section your name and where you're coming from, where you're joining us from. For example, maybe you're in Lagos, you can say Dolapo from Lagos. So please, we love you to drop that in the comment section, and would also love you to state what is the one thing that you would like to take away from today's summit. Thank you. So Dolapo, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling today? Namesake, how are you feeling?
everybody.
How do you
I
feel
hope
to
the weather
finally
is
be
good
here?
wherever you are.
Yeah, it's been a little bit cold, but I'm cool. How does it feel to be here today? Oh, welcome, John Ayomide from Ibadan. We're glad to meet you. Uluwatayo from Lagos, you're welcome.
Peace from Ogun State. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Mary Cynthia from Lagos, you're welcome. Catherine from Lagos, you're welcome. Oh, I have another namesake, Dolapo from Lagos, you're welcome.
Dolapo appeared today.
Martins from Kaduna, we love you. Thank you for joining in. Oh, Ayomikposi from Akwa Ibom. That's so fantastic. Israel from Port Harcourt, we appreciate you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're welcome, you're
So,
welcome. So we welcome you all. We say you're welcome. You're going to enjoy yourself today. We hope that you are relaxed and set to enjoy all the values and goodies you'll be getting from today's session. You are going to be learning a whole lot on how you can become a chartered accountant at one attempt. You're going to learn about what it takes to dominate, what it takes to be. You're going to learn about how to excel even after becoming a chartered accountant. You're going to learn about, you're going to learn from other speakers, people that have been on this ICAN journey. You're going to learn from their journey, the mistakes they've made, and how they scale through. So you are in for a good ride, and I believe that you're going to enjoy every bit of this session. Am I right, namesake?
yes, you're very right. You are going to go to part of our goodies today is the first speaker is Zoraika. We are going to go to media to play that video so we can start with our goodies for today. Media.
Olayinka Oyetunji. Olayinka Oyetunji is married and blessed with 3 kids. She is a charter holder of the CFA Institute, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and a chartered stockbroker. She works with Ernst & Young as a senior manager advising public and private sector clients in strategy and transactions. She has over 14 years experience brokering mergers and acquisitions, valuations, financial modeling and due diligence, as well as infrastructure and public sector advisory. Olayinka is also a CFA lecturer and facilitates various finance-related courses and trainings. She is the convener of an initiative called CLEAN with Olayinka, a platform that uses storytelling to re-energize and inspire people. She is also a volunteer at the Gender Diversity of the CFA Society, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Olayinka Oyetunji.
You're welcome, Ma. We're glad to have you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. So you can go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Um, I'm happy to be here. Good afternoon, distinguished participants and the organizers of Become a Chartered Accountant Summit. I thank the organizers for the opportunity to give this keynote speech at the maiden edition of this summit. I'm inspired by the thoughtfulness of the speakers and the insights they share about the importance of accounting in the workplace. Today, I'll be speaking on what it takes to be and win. I would not be doing justice to this topic if I do not give a brief background about myself to enable you understand my journey. I became a chartered accountant when I was 22 years old, and I was at the 200 level of the university. Before you conclude I'm brilliant, let me inform you that I started writing the ATS examination when I could not pass JAM to gain admission into the university, and my peers were already in 300 level. Out of boredom and being tired of staying at home, I started writing the ICAN examinations. The most phenomenal thing is that I passed each of the 6 stages at one sitting and even won a prize at one of the levels. Once again, before you conclude that I am brilliant, I need to tell you that I was an academically challenged child in both primary and secondary schools. My best was an average, and my usual was a below average. Prior to starting my ICAN examination, I had never received any award or recognition, nor passed any examination gallantly. This feat at ICAN taught me important lessons in life, which I've also applied to achieve being a chartered stockbroker and a charter holder of the CFA Institute. First, you can achieve anything you set your heart to do. Second, success is achieved through principles. Applying the principles of success would make you achieve your objectives. The first part of my speech today would address how to become a chartered accountant at one sitting, and the other would highlight some strategies you need to win in your career. Let me start by giving you some time tested tips of how to pass the examination. I have compartmentalized these strategies into three buckets. First bucket being your health and well-being, the second being the examination itself, and the third bucket being your psychology. So let's start with the first bucket, your health and well-being. Firstly, you need to know that your health is the most important part of this examination journey. Your health will save you time. Try not to get sick. You will waste time if you do. Your physical and mental health are very important. Make sure that you eat well, you sleep, and you exercise. Think about it. The only thing you enjoy from your money is the food you eat. So, eat to live and not to kill your body. Sleep may sound counterproductive for someone preparing for an examination. However, you need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night to be healthy. Sleep enhances your health, and sleep deprivation is a chemical stressor. Minimize processed foods, they make you unhealthy. Secondly, take as much fruits, vegetables, and water as much as you can. Like I said earlier, fuel your body to support your examination, your work, and your life. Try to get brain foods like dark chocolates, walnuts, oily fish. All this would help you in your study. The second bucket is the examination itself. The following are very important with respect to the examination. First, know yourself. Are you an early bird or a night owl? You need to know when you are most productive in the day or night and target your reading towards when you are more productive. Secondly, avoid 0 days. Have a study routine and be consistent with it. Once preparing for the CFA examination, I read between 2 and 5 a.m. during the week and about 20 to 24 hours on Saturday and Sundays. Think about it. If you wake up 4 a.m. and you read till 9 a.m. on a Saturday, you have done 5 hours already. If you are consistent with this routine, it is unlikely that you would not pass your exam. Don't have days when you don't read. Our bodies like routine and you gain momentum each day that you read. After a while, your body gets used to that routine and you don't feel it as a big deal anymore. It's just like you are working out to build muscles. You need to be consistent with it. Third, know the examination. You have to know every single thing about the examination you are writing. The more information you have about the examination, the more likely you are able to predict and defeat the examination. For any examination like the ICAN, I learned that covering everything on the entire curriculum is critical to success, and not covering everything is a setup to failure. There is no shortcut. Remember the ICAN exam I won that I talked about earlier. I learned a concept at the last week of the examination that covered 70% of the examination. I would have failed if I did not cover the syllabus. First, reading versus application. Reading is different from being able to answer questions. You need to practice with a lot of questions to test yourself that you truly and deeply understand the concepts. You need to solve as many past questions as you can and set yourself for a mock examination. You need to also repeat this as many times as you can. After doing past questions repeatedly, it does two things for you. First, you know all the ways that they can ask you questions on a particular topic. Second, it helps you to increase your speed and accuracy. Fifth, understand your brain. There is no shortcut to learning. Research shows that your brain needs at least 17 repetitions to store information. Multitasking is a myth. There is nothing like multitasking. Your brain cannot multitask. You need to focus on what you're doing. You need to focus on your exams. When we say we multitask, we are only saying that we are switching between different tasks repeatedly, and our brains are actually not cut out to do multiple things at the same time. Besides, multitasking is detrimental to both your actual productivity and to your mental health. Attempting to multitask will deplete you of the ability to focus, it will deplete you of your willpower, and it is much less effective than focusing on one single thing at a time. The last bucket is your psychology. You need to be in the right frame of mind to excel in your examination. First, believe you can. I like this quote by Norman Vincent Peale that says, throw your heart over the bar and your body will follow. You need to believe you can, then you would. Second, power poses are very useful. Amy Cuddy is a psychologist that did a research on body language and power poses. Power postures or poses occur when you take up a lot of space physically. Within 2 minutes of adopting power poses, research shows that your testosterone levels increases by 20% and your cortisol levels decrease by 25%. Before others ask me, what do I mean? Testosterone hormone is the one that increases your confidence. So when you take power poses, you actually increase your confidence. So what I'm saying is power poses do helps you to change your mental outlook positively. Third, make yourself feel confident. One of the things I do is look my best when I'm going for an examination. It gives you a sense of confidence. First, surround yourself only with people that encourage you towards your goals. Have many cheerleaders and accountability partners to support your journey. And this leads me to the second part of my speech on how to succeed in your career. Some tips that I have found very useful are this. First, build your technical competence. That is your entry point. Understand the competency structure of your organization and strive to be excellent. Second, develop your soft skills like leadership skills, networking, relationship building, creativity, flexibility, conflict resolution, and problem solving. As you advance the career ladder, your soft skills become even more important than your technical skills. Thirdly, do not confuse a bend for an end. Your career may not be a straight line. A career is often marked with different events and seasons, some pleasant, some neutral, and some unpleasant. Whatever it is, make sure you never give up and you are always moving. In conclusion, I urge each one of you to find a vision and follow it. Determination keeps you in the game and not intelligence. Do not fail because you did not work hard enough. No pain, no gain. Nevertheless, you have not failed on anything until you quit trying. Thank you once again for listening to me. I wish you the best in your examination, in your career, and in life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma, for the wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you. Namesake, how was the session?
It was impactful. I learned a lot. I would just like to know the few excel below. You have to know yourself to know yourself. And that's one thing that a lot of people makes. Because we are always chase on write exam, you're looking at November, you're looking at May diet, and you're just trying to rush through everything. Go to work Monday to Friday, come back. You're not even sure if you ate at work. You're not thinking of eating dinner. If you want to eat, it's pizza that went with work. So that's actually one thing that miss out a lot because we all just concentrate on the physical part of preparing, actual preparation for the exam. So that was very, very insightful for me. Thank you very much, ma'am. Namesake,
Thank you. Yeah, just like you said, like she said a whole lot of things, and one thing that also stood out for me in her session was being in the right state of mind. We neglect that part. We neglect the mind part. We just feel like it's all about preparing for the exam. We focus on the technical aspect while we neglect the mind. The mind works together with the brain, so that stood out for me. And you said something about multitasking too, which also stood out for me. Like you cannot, there's no how you'll be productive when you are doing a lot of things at the same time. Focus on one thing, put your energy into the exam. This is what I want to do, I plan towards it. You also said something about having a routine, that for our brain to work well, like you have to do something 17 times for it to become registered. So it's important that we have a routine that helps us with our exam, like reading routine. No 0 days. I picked that, no 0 days. It means that no matter what, even if it's just to read for 5 minutes a day, make sure you read something towards your exam. Thanks so much. I have a question, Ma, before we throw it to the house, whether they have. You said something about power poses, and I've never really heard power poses. I understand that, yes, your confidence, you have to be, but can you shed more light into what you mean by power poses?
Thank you very much, Dola, and for listening attentively. So when you talk about power poses, when you meet some people, you find them closed up. Like, so if you can see my hands, they are like this, they are bowed down. Power posing is you opening up yourself. Taking power poses like the Wonder Woman, right? Just opening up yourself. I mean, research has shown, and it's online by a professor of a social psychologist, that when you power pose, what it does for you is it helps your mental outlook, because you actually cannot write any exam and succeed until you have believed in yourself that you can actually do it. So most times, if you look at President Obama's picture, he will probably put his legs on the table, he will raise his hands high. Those are power poses, and everybody is encouraged to take those postures because it actually does help your mental health. Rather than folding in your house and covering up, just try as much as possible to open up, to take up space, right? That way, you are able to build your mental outlook positively.
Thank
Thank you. So, Dolapo, over to you.
you. Yeah, so I'd like to throw it to the house now. If you have any questions, please send in your questions so that we can ask Mrs. Olayinka. But I see she's here now, so free of charge, looking at you. So ask her question, ask her the questions you have for her. Put her stay here to good use. Namesake, Dolapo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can see some comments in the comment section saying that they can't hear us clearly. I don't know. Can you hear me now? Please let's know if you can hear us clearly in the comment section whether we are better now. Please let's know. So please let's drop our questions for our speaker. If you have questions, let's drop our questions. Let's drop our questions. Okay, so we have a question. Charis George, thank you for your question. She said, please can you successfully do a full-time job and ACCA or ACA at the same time? Did you get my
Okay.
question, ma'am?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Caris, for your question.
Let's hold on a bit. I guess our speaker's network is glitching.
Okay. So while we wait for Mrs. Olayinka network to come back,
Okay, can you
I'd
hear
like
me
to.
now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Yes, she's back.
Okay.
We can hear
So,
you now.
Caris, let me go back. I said you can definitely do your professional exams, right? Either the ICAN or ACCA by with being fully employed. And I want to give myself as an example that I wrote the CFA examinations, one of the most difficult examinations in the world, whilst married. I had three children and I was fully employed. So the first thing that you have to know when you are writing any exam is to first believe in yourself that you are able to do it, and then you think through how you want to accomplish it. So it's very possible. I mean, people write professional exams.
I guess our network is okay. She's back. Hello, ma.
Okay, so I've answered the question. I hope you got it.
Yeah, I hope she got it. Though your network went off a bit for a while, but we're able to pick some things. You mentioned that she should believe in herself that she can, and you just come up with a strategy that works for you. So another question we have from Anna Oguntade says, did you have any case of information overload?
Okay, thank you very much, Hannah. When you are writing an exam, the first thing you have to do is you have to know the exam very well. Knowing the exam means knowing the kind of questions they will ask you, understanding other people's experience on that examination, speaking to people that are also writing the examination with you. That's the importance of knowing. Now, when you know.
Well, sorry for the network glitches. Maybe because of the weather. The network has been, going off. So, Dolapo, while we wait for her, please, we are taking note of your questions while we expect her. Um, Dolapo, what else, stood out for you from our session? What else can you relate with, from our session?
I would say it's everything basically that we have mentioned just that. And the interesting things about the things she said is that there are things that we have been able to identify too, and we have put in a very little package that we call our online course that you'll be hearing much more about later. We have a module that speaks to preparation. Can you guys hear me before I continue? Okay, please.
I can hear you. Oh, welcome, Ma. We're sorry about
Wow.
the network that keeps throwing off and on. Um, Another question says from Kafayat says, "What exactly is power poses?" I guess she didn't hear you when you were explaining. Maybe you could just quickly do a brief rundown on that again.
Yeah. Okay. So I said power poses.
Wow, our network is really, really glitching, but I can answer that. She mentioned, she explained something. So Kafayat, I hope this helps. She was saying that power poses are like, it has to do with you opening yourself up, because the way you position yourself, your posture also affects your mental health. So she was saying that some people, they are like this, they stay bent, some they are like this, like you see Obama, like, there's a way he stands, there's a posture that he poses when he's taking pictures or anything. His leg could be on the table, it could be so. Those are power poses. Like, it helps build your confidence when you are up straight, you're up tight, like you believe, you walk like a boss, you walk like a king, like you have that confidence. It affects your mental health, that yes, I can do this thing. It helps you in building your confidence for the exam. I hope I answered it well, Ma. Oh, my network is really breaking. I'm so sorry about that. Um we're so sorry about that. So I want to see the questions that we can actually answer before we wrap up this session. There's another question from Tricia Andy that says, "What are the best time for reading, even you working?" She said, "What is the best time to really read when you work from Monday to Friday and you close late every day?" Our speaker would, I think she would respond to this better when she comes back on board. I'm so sorry about the network. So Dapo, you were saying something before. Our product that we've come up with, the BACA products, become chartered accountants at one attempt online course, would answer some of these questions that you have. Oh, welcome. It will answer the questions that you have. We've noted some of these questions, and these are things that we've researched on. We've identified that these are issues that people have when preparing for their exams. And so we have come up with a product which you would get to know more about as we go ahead in the summit, that would answer some of this, in fact, almost all your questions. Am I right, namesake?
Yes, you're very right. And at this junction, we would like to sincerely thank Mrs. Olayinka for our impactful section. I enjoyed myself. I learned a whole lot, and that's just me. Can I imagine the number of people that have joined us? So thank you very much for taking our time to come to our platform to spill all the knowledge you have gathered from your years of experience and writing ICAN. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you
you, ma.
very much
Well,
for having me.
Please, can
thank
we
you.
tell her thank you in the comment section?
Session.
Show her love. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
ma'am.
everyone, for your questions that we're not able to answer. We believe that, from the other sessions with the other speakers, some of them will be answered. Thank you so much.
So we're going to be going into the panel section right now. We'll leave it to media to take us on a live stream. It's going to be a very impactful section. So media,
Oluseyi Olarinwaju. Oluseyi Olarinwaju is currently the Country Chief Financial Officer, TSL and Partner, Zero Q Professional. He was the Acting Managing Director and Finance Director of Vodacom Business Africa, Nigeria, respectively. He's a 3-time recipient of the CFO of the Year Award in Nigeria's telecommunications industry, 2016, 2018, and 2019. Recognized as Noble ICAN member in 2020 and recipient of Africa Influencer Award 2020, to mention a few. He has held various roles in multinational organizations, including ExxonMobil, PwC, Zenith Bank PLC, MTN Nigeria, General Electric, Internet Solutions, Konga Online Shopping Mall, Vodacom Business Africa, Nigeria, and Mixter Africa. Seyi is a seasoned IFRS IPSAS expert, author and respected analyst on corporate governance and financial corporate reporting matters, with experience spanning over 20 years in corporate governance, leadership, finance strategy, planning and budgeting, finance reporting, compliance, audit and investigation, treasury and tax management, inventory, procurement, risk and asset management. He is also the partner at Risk-Free Tutors and Zero Q Professional, accredited ICAN and non-executive director in some companies. He is a graduate of Yaba College of Technology and obtained a BSc in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University, MBA from Lagos State University, MSc Finance from University of Leicester, United Kingdom, and PhD Accounting from Charisma University, TCI, UK. He is a fellow of ICAN, CITN, AFAR, IOD, SFCG, CIMA UK, and ACCA UK. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Oluseyi Olarinwaju. Temitope Obayemi. Temitope Obayemi has over 4 years robust experience in statutory auditing, corporate financial reporting, cash flow planning, financial forecasting, payroll management, amongst others. She is a vibrant accounting professional, a first-class graduate of accounting, an associate of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, and a student member of the Associate Certified Chartered Accountant UK. She is passionate about finance. She loves to help individuals manage their finance properly and also help businesses make sense of their numbers. Outside work, she develops content that inspires people to take charge of their professional and financial lives. Actually, she can be a bit of everything, from writing to coaching to influencing to mentoring to reviewing a book, etc. Currently, she leads a book club founded for like-minded ladies to converge, read, and review inspiring books weekly while applying the insight and learnings to their daily lives. She also co-manages a community where they share a number of useful resources to aid personal development and career advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Temitope Obayemi. Introducing Paul Adebayo. Paul Adebayo is a finance professional who has exhibited the proven ability to organize and develop teams, lead organizations to profitability, curate and transform business models, and boost corporate outcomes while retaining great work quality through the course of his over 7-year career. Paul is extremely passionate about opportunities and ideas in emerging and innovative technologies related to financial products for corporates, unbanked, and underbanked in order to help improve their social and economic standing, as evidenced by his current role at Savient Finance and as a director at Monified Finance Limited. He was the financial controller of Enyo Retail and Supply Limited, one of the fastest growing downstream oil and gas companies in sub-Sahara Africa, and an ex-auditor at PKF Professional Services before embarking on an MBA at Warwick Business School, where he is the current president for Black in Business. He is a chartered accountant and a Bowen University accounting graduate. Paul likes traveling and planning the next adventure with family and friends when he's not talking about or playing football. Ladies and gentlemen, Olumide Ibikunle. Olumide Ibikunle is a first-class graduate of accounting from Babcock University, Nigeria. He has cut his teeth in the finance and investment management industry. He currently leads the liquidity and investment desk in the Treasury and Trade Solutions business of City Nigeria, after stints as an investment research analyst and financial analyst with Meristem Securities and AO Partners respectively. He is currently a Level 2 candidate of the CFA exams and a qualified member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He has a sound appreciation of the global and domestic economic environment and the capital markets, and is committed to assisting young people to create sustainable financial wealth through investing. He has been a regular in the print and electronic media with platforms including BBC, CNBC, Business Day, Guardian, Bloomberg, Nairametrics, and ProShare, taking his view on the economy and business. Olumide is also committed to noble causes and actively volunteers for Junior Achievement Nigeria while running the July initiative focused on SDGs 4 and 8. He enjoys Scrabble and watching tennis or football for leisure. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Olumide Ibikunle.
Hello, good afternoon. I hope you all can hear me. Please let me know if I'm audible now. Can you hear me? Please put it in the comment section if you can hear Dolapo. Hello, Timitokpe.
Hello, Dolako. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, it's a
We're just
pleasure.
going to wait a bit for the other panelists.
Hi everyone. Hi Dolapo. Hi Timotokwe. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to
Good
be here.
afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon, sir.
Dolako. Pleased to meet you.
Same here. Sorry, just a minute. Please, can I just have election? Please, can I just ask that we turn on our videos for our panelists so that we can see you?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. So we'll just wait for the remaining panelists. So media, please add Olumide, Dr. Shea, and Paul to this panel. We can only see Dolapo and Timmy. Welcome, Timmy. So good to have you here. Thank you for
Thank you,
accepting
Tim.
our invitation. Media will be waiting for you for the remaining panelists. We can only see Timmy Tokwa here. Yeah, so I think we'll just start with Timmy while we wait for the other panelists to join, right? And I looked at your profile and we had a discussion on ICAN, right? And I mean, you won an award some years ago when you were writing ATS3, right? And okay, is Temi still there? Okay, you can hear me, Temi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about the network. We're going to fix everything now. So yeah, I was
No
asking that. I mean,
problem.
you won an award some years ago when you wrote your ICAN, right? And sometimes people think
Yes,
that ICAN is like a small god
a
that
small
you
god,
cannot pass or
demigod.
something. Yeah, yeah, demigod, right? So I mean, my question to you will be, what do you think people can really do to make sure that they excel in their papers or in their exam, like especially that you've won an award and the experience you have with that.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Shane. So first, I'd like to start with winning a prize is not something that is unachievable. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. So I believe the first thing is for you to set a goal for yourself. So my own prize did not just happen. Although I believe that some people they are just fortunate, it just happens. They didn't plan for prize, they just won prize. But during my own time, I mean, people that we wrote ICANN together, they knew that it was something I wanted, like I desired it. I had to relate with people that had won prizes in past exams. I met them, we spoke and all of that. So the first thing is decision. Do you want it? It is not a do or die affair. It's not compulsory you win an award. But if you are someone like me that likes to be exceptional, that likes to be outstanding, then set a goal for yourself. Then secondly, you have to do more. You don't want to achieve what other people are achieving. That means you have to do extra, like you have to go extra mile. So then I was in Yavatech when I was writing my haiku. So the only thing I do is from student five because I received lecture in student five. From student five to Yavatech library. Yavatech library was practically my home. I was always there. I read after classes because I was studying statistics, so we didn't really have so much to do, just maybe a few classes during the day. After classes, I head straight to the library and then I'm there. I close very late, except for days that I have to be in church. If I'm not going to church, then you see me in the library, I leave very late, then I'm back to pie and like that. That's like my lifestyle. So you have to go extra mile, you have to do more. So if you are reading 3 hours, maybe ordinarily you read for 3 hours, but if you want to win prize, you want to achieve 90 something, then you have to do more. You have to do more. You have to study in depth. So it's not just reading to pass exam. So I noticed that a lot of times many of us we audit questions, we do skimming, so we do permutation and combination. We take past questions and we are like, oh, this diet, this topic came out, this topic came out, this diet, that means this diet, oh, it is this one that will come out and it's this one that you will read. Now if you want to win prize, you have to read everything and you have to study in depth, like a deep reading. And it's not just one level of reading, right? You have to do maybe two level of reading. Particularly in my audits, I think I read the pack like 3 times. Like that's the study test that I can give us. I read it like 3 times. So I mean, for somebody that has read a book 3 times back to back, you can imagine what that kind of person will score in an exam if the person does not have negative home support. So that's it. You have to do more. You have to study more. You have to familiarize yourself with the past questions because it's not enough for you to read. Sometimes you have read something, but when you get to the exam, you see questions and you are out of balance. So past questions give you the look and feel of how your questions will be set. So if the more you read, the more you solve past questions. So as you are reading a topic, search past questions, search previous questions on that topic because it's not just going to be what is. Questions could come in any form. It could be case study, it could be short answer, it could be anything. So the more you solve past question, the more you get a broader view of how a particular topic can be tested. And again, pray. I mean, I cannot even overemphasize this. So in church, we used to do something. We used to do days of grace, and then they give us expectation form and all of that. The only thing I had on my expectation form that year that I won prize was I wanted to pass and win prize, and I want to finish in school. I don't want to have carryover because in statistics department, a lot of carryovers. And me, I'm not so good in statistics. They threw me into statistics. I didn't choose statistics. So then I was like, God, this is the only two things I want. I want to win prize in my high and I want to pass all my papers in my school. I don't want to have any carryover. And he did it. So it's not enough to read. Whatever you believe in, either you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, make sure you tie your goal, make sure you tie it to God, because the Bible said we should commit our plans unto the Lord and He's going to establish it. So as much as you have done your best, make sure you commit it to God. And trust me, it's definitely going to crown your efforts with good success. So yes, I believe that's what you need. That's the commitment you need to be a prize winner.
Thank you very much. Temitope, that was
Right.
very loaded. I got a few things which was also close to what Mrs. Olainka said, that no 0 days. If you want to be exceptional in something, you have to put in exceptional effort. Mediocre
Mhm.
effort cannot give you exceptional results. So you have to do well to be able to get good results. But I also know from discussions that I've had with Shewo, I also know that at one point in time there was you had to receipt a paper, I think one or
Mhm.
two. I would like
Mhm.
to know how what that failure did to you
Uh,
mentally, financially, everything, and what you learned from that failure.
mm. Right. Thank you very much for that question, Dolapo. So I think for me, failure is a catalyst. If I had not failed in ATS2, I don't think I would have won prize in ATS3. Let me just start with that. I think the failure in ATS2 was what gave me the ginger, the vibe, the energy that I know. ATS3, I must pass and I must win prize. It was that failure in ATS2 that spurred me. So failure to me is a catalyst. It's normal to fail. Let me just put it that way. Although some people are very fortunate, they just do pam pam pam, they are done. But for me in SS2, I failed QA. That day, I think about only two people escaped QA. Every one of us we failed. So when I got to ATS, I wrote it again and I passed. When I got to ATS3, the fear of failure, like I don't want to fail again, oh. Plus the money. At that time, there was not so much financial backup and all of that. So at that time, I didn't really have so much. So I was like, I can't do this thing again, no. So instead of me to fail, I'm going to collect my money back from ICAN, because I heard that when you win prize, ICAN gives you money, and then student file, like the what they give you as compensation is your next diet will be free. That is, you will not pay lecture fee. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, now I'm paying double money, because I paid for QA twice. So I told myself that I'm going to collect my money back from ICAN. And the only way I can collect my money back from ICAN is to win prize. And that was what helped me. So when I got to TS3, I wrote it down that I want to win prize. That when I win prize, in my skills level, when I get to my skills level, I will not pay student fee, and then ICAN will give me money to compensate me for the QA that I paid for twice, and that was it for me. So failure is not, when you fail, it's okay to cry. I'm not saying you should stomach it in. Cry, pick yourself up, dust yourself up, and start all over again. Like we move. That's the word. We move. Don't just
Mhm.
sit there and start feeling pity or start wallowing in sorrow and all of that. I understand that it can be very difficult for a lot of people that have written this paper more than maybe more than twice. You've probably written it like 3 times. It's okay. Pick yourself up, start all over again, and let that fear of failure, let it drive you, let it birth some level of energy in you for you to do much more in the next attempt. So yes, failure for me was my own catalyst. If I had not failed, I don't think I would be that moved to win prize. I don't think so. So failure for me was a good one.
Thank you very much, Temitope. So with me now, I can see that we now have Paul Adebayo with us and Olumide. So thank you guys for making our time to join us. I have a question. My question is for Paul Adebayo. So Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Dolapo.
Okay. Hi, Paul. So from knowing you, I mean, we worked together at one point, right? I know that we went through a lot. When I say we, it's we because we all know. We went through a lot with PM. We wrote it a couple number of times before finally passing it and um, getting 85 at our final trial. So I would like to know what your experience was like. What kept you going to say, okay, this paper has been returned to me once, twice, thrice, 4 times, and I still want to do it. I don't want to give up. What kept you going? And also, what can you identify at that last final point that you got 85? What can you identify that you did differently that you would say got you your 85 marks?
Okay. Thanks, Dolapo. For me, I've been writing PM since I think 2014 or 2013, and I actually wrote PM before it was called PM. It was called Management Accounting. So I've been filling from Management Accounting into the new syllabus, and
Wow.
I started with management accounting. I failed that twice, and then I moved on to they changed the syllabus, and thinking that if they change the syllabus, I'll be more lucky. Whereas ICAN had more packages for me, so I went on to write PM. For PM, I failed the first one. I failed the second one. At that point, I'm like, you know what? I think this is not my calling. And bearing in mind that I've been writing ICAN from 8 years, um, so for me, I started 8 years one. I wrote 4 papers. I passed two. I failed two. I went back. I wrote the two. I failed one again, passed one, and then I'm like, you know what? This ICAN thing, I don't think is my calling. But I got somebody to speak to me and gave me the morale and the confidence to move ahead and continue to push. And then that triggered me to do it ATS2. For ATS2, I passed that. I wrote four, I passed four. ATS3, I wrote four, passed four. I went to skills. That's intermediate. There was a stage from transitioning from ATS to ICAN. And I passed that one, and then I got to PM. So for me, what made me keep pushing was that I had a decision, and decision for me determines destiny. And the decision was to be a chartered accountant. And since I had that at the back of my mind, I felt that was enough motivation for me personally to keep moving and to keep pushing. Um, at a point, configured that maybe the best thing for me to do is to switch from ICANN to ACCA. So I went on with some of my friends to consider changing to ACCA. And when I went there, I got the lecture packs. I looked at it. I looked at their past questions. I'm like, even if this thing is in another language, which is ACCA, I will still feel this thing. So there was no point running away, paying more money for ACCA. Let me just continue to struggle here, and one day I'll be lucky. I was relying on luck, but I think luck is not going to work for you. The best thing to do is to make sure you have a plan, you have a focus on what you want to do, you have a decision within yourself that you have to do this. And if you have that, it changes the ball game entirely. For me, I was doing ICANN then, and I was doing things wrongly. I was doing things because I think I should do them, and that was not enough motivation to pass, or that was not enough reason to pass ICANN. So for me, what I would advise for people that are failing and need an energy to keep pushing is what decision do you have as a person? What do you have within yourself to say, yes, I want to do this thing? When you understand that motive behind what you're doing, then that gives you enough motivation. So anytime you decide that I'm tired of this thing, I want to move on, when you look at your goal in front of you, it pushes you on. So failure, regardless of your decision, is not failure. For me, is a choice. You decide that you failed if only you quit. So if you don't quit and you keep pushing and you keep moving, I think at the end of the day, you would be able to scale through. I can't hear you, Sean.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for that. I mean, I really like how you highlighted holding on to your decision and the reason why you are doing something, right? And I think that that is what really, really holds you down at the end of the day. And to say that, okay, you won't get tired, you won't stop. But I mean, aside even having that desire to continue and having that will, right? I also feel like, I mean, over to you, Paul. Another question, which is, are there things that you felt that you could have done right instead of writing it so many times? Are there things you feel that, okay, I feel like you could have written it once. Why did you eventually write it five? What could you have done? So over to you, Paul.
So for me, the first thing was I I made a decision within myself that I want to get chartered, I want to get qualified. But to be honest, it's not that straightforward to say you want to do this and then you just go ahead to do it. So what I would have done differently, or what gave me that energy, was initially I was reading PM because I was told to read PM. I did not understand why what I was doing. So if the question should change slightly, I'm off balance. So I never understood the reason behind. For example, they say standard costing. I crammed everything, but if they come and say they twist just one word there, I get confused because it is not coming in the direction I did. And this even affected me. The diet I passed, when I saw the questions, I could not write for like 15, 20 minutes because I had that panic. Like, would these questions throw me out? So for that first 20 minutes, I needed to be calm. I needed to understand that I'm not going to write this thing again. So that purpose within me was enough motivation for me to push. So understand what you are doing, why you are doing it is key. Don't just go and read ICAN Park and say, and you've crammed everything and then you just go ahead to do it. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So you don't just go and say, oh, this didn't come out last year, this didn't come out 2 years ago, then this should come out this year. No, I was doing that initially for the first 5 trials, and if it goes off my permutation, I'm messed up. So don't permutate. Make sure you cover everything that has to do. Permutation
Makes
would
sense.
mess you up. And then
You're not a
understand
scientist.
understand why you're doing it. Understand the reason behind a topic. Understand what the topic is trying to address. Understand what they are trying to test, such that in case they flip it around, you are still able to navigate your way through. So that was key for me.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was really helpful. I mean, Paul has said, don't be a scientist. I know some people try to do this one comes out this diet. You're not a professor. Just read your syllabus, right, and plan ahead. And those are the kind of things we want to help people to understand and even help them to do. So good to see you, Mr. Shei and Olumide. Mr. Shei, can you hear me? Just want to confirm. Hello, can anyone hear him?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. So good to have you here, and thank you for taking out your time to be here. I mean, we'll just ask you a question. I mean, we found out that sometimes some people start writing icon, they stop. It's like as if they don't know why they are writing it, right? So we want you, from your experience. I mean, you've done a lot of things even after your icon. I mean, what would you say is the benefits of finishing your icon? Because some people, I think their major problem is it even worth it? Like after all the stress. So for you, what has it done in your career? What is the progression? I know you've worked in different organizations, big fours, top organizations in the world. I mean, so how has this positioned you and even prepared your mind, apart from just even the certification, for what you've become and what you will still become?
Thank you very much, Olumide, for that question. Good afternoon, my co-panelists. I think for me, before you embark on any adventure, you must sit down, ask yourself question: why am I going into this? How would this add to me? Because at the end of the day, it's all about how would this affect me? How would this affect my plan for my life? So, as a student, while I was writing the exam, for me, I saw it then as a goal that is going to change my life. And I proposed in my mind to say, I'm not going to end ICANN by failure. So that's what was keeping me to say that this project I've started, I'm going to finish it. I remember I wrote ICANN examination when it was the era of fail one, fail all. So my first diet was in 1997, foundation class. And I passed all the quantitative and mathematical courses, financial accounting, quantitative analysis, cost accounting, economics, and I had double star in law. I read, I was a very smart guy. The result came out to be that they gave me double star in law. I felt so devastated. you know I had one of the panelists talking about I don't have the money. Then it was same for me. To pull that resources then was a tall order. So where do I see money again to write this exam? But like I said, for me, finishing ICAN was a goal. I wasn't ready to end it by failure. So that kept, pushing me, and I go to mommy, find something now. This is a goal, it's going to change my life. I've seen people that have been qualified and I see what they have become. So that was, what kept me during the time I was writing the exam. It was tough. In fact, our days were very tough. We only had a center in Lagos then, and that was straight fare. I stay in Shomolu. Imagine the journey from Shomolu to Trade Fair inside rain and all those kind of things. It wasn't too palatable for anybody to write exam under those conditions. But because it was a goal, I kept on, and I supported myself with very brilliant friends. Guys I know where they were going at that point. So we're all reading together. If I feel tired, I see my colleague, my friend reading, I'll be motivated to go back to read and just encourage myself. So I think passing ICAN, people must see it as a project that must be finished. I know there are factors, especially in Nigeria, that could make you fail: traffic, no light, no all those kind of things. But if you see it as a project that must be completed, you will always encourage yourself and go back to it. You also asked me that how has this affected me? As you can see, it has affected me in so many ways. I remember, because I was qualified, or I wouldn't know, at our day, PwC don't usually employ people that have HND. I think my set was about the third set they took in with HND. And we already even qualified from school because we wrote the exam while we're in Yaba Tech doing OND. So the last year I finished my HND exam, that was when I got an appointment with PricewaterhouseCoopers. You can't believe it. And that just
Wow.
changed my life. I already have ICAN. I was able to apprehend on time at work. I was able to mingle and discuss with quality people. And from PwC, I was just moving from one place to the other because of that qualification. And it wouldn't have been if I had not seen it as a project that must be completed. So that's what I would say there.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, we're extremely grateful for that. And I think I've taken out a lot of things. And one thing I took out is having brilliant friends, having people that are ready to move on this journey with you. And I mean, I found out that sometimes it's difficult to go on your own. I mean, back in 2015, Olumide here used to actually teach me some papers, right? He would come to my house when we're in Ota and teach me, because I mean, it was like he was the brilliant person in school. He was a year younger than myself, but I mean, for me, it was like, I need to learn this thing. I will call him over. He will teach me, even if I didn't still understand. Even that diet, I still failed. But I mean, we shall gather ourselves together and keep pushing, right? So Olumide, we'll just ask you a question, right? And the question is, I mean, looking at your career, your CV, you're like always the best everywhere you go and everything. And sometimes people will think that maybe this person is just born to be brilliant. His own is just born, is gifted, right? But I know that beyond that, you do something. There's an effort that you do, right? I see how hardworking you are, and I'm like, this Olumide is everywhere like this, right? And I mean, I just want you to talk about that, what it really takes to be at the top of everything that you do, even in your exam, even in your profession, even in your school, even at work. Like, what does it really take, the mindset and the things that it takes to get to that level? So
Thanks so much. Thanks for inviting me to this event. And thanks to everyone who has spoken. I've learned so much, even from everyone who has spoken so far. I think it's clear to everyone, really, I mean, at this point, that with above average intelligence, we as humans, we have this subjective measure in people's intelligence, right? We say IQ test, right? All of those things. But personally, I believe that someone with above average IQ can pass ICAN
and pass whatever exam you set your mind to, and do just great at anything that you set your mind, right? The thing about examination, right? The thing about examinations is that they are they are tests of how well you're able to absorb information and how well you're able to also reproduce that information, right? That's exams as you were. Go beyond exams and you go into the actual work environment, and it is a case of not just reproducing information, but synthesizing information you have and putting it to good use for work, right? I hear people telling stories of how they pass exams, and I think the principles are the same globally. There are things like all first principles, right, and they apply to just about anything, whether exams or work or anything else, right? Having a routine that works. I think that's one very important point that Olayinka Yetunji mentioned. Having a routine that works. And I saw a question in the comment box. Someone asked a question about, what do you advise? What time should you study? What time is best to assimilate and all of that? Well, the reality is that everyone's circumstances. You've been out all day. You work in 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, or on paper it's 9 to 5. Well, in reality, it's usually about 10 p.m. sometimes. That is when it's 8 to 10 p.m. So based on that reality that you have to work around. Right? Mr. Sheyi was saying something about I can be in a project. Literally just about every other exam that you're writing at any point in your life. It's a project. Currently I'm writing the CSE exam as well. And I know that while I'm writing CSE exam, there are certain things that you have to put aside. I see him is going for O and B now. And he can do that now because he's gone through all the ropes, he's gone through all the hoops, right? And you actually have time to do whatever he wants to do now. But while you are preparing for this exam, while you are learning the ropes, while you are trying to get it, while you are trying to get the results, it's important to understand that these are projects that you have to embark upon before you get to the final level, before you get to where things become a lot easier, right? And I think it is important for everyone who is on the call today. Young people, I know that most of the people who are writing ICAN today are young people who are still in university or you started out your career and all that. And people are it's a tough balancing act. You want to write exams, you want to get ahead in life. At the same time, you want to enjoy yourself, right? Most young people, Gen Z, millennials, we want to enjoy ourselves while we're writing exams and all that. But you also understand that it's important to take that thing as a project and fix it correct, right? I had the privilege of writing these exams when I was in school. I qualified for it. I left school at 20, and I think it's an advantage that I had. And so I'm speaking specifically to anyone who's on the call today, who's in university, who's in polytechnic, and think, oh, you know what? When I'm done in school, I'll sit like that. Your thing can start now. It's an advantage if you have it. I said that and that's a very wonderful story. If you have that advantage of doing this while you are still in school, take it and use it, right? Because one thing is sure, you are in a university environment and essentially in a learning environment where you are able to, everything you are doing is learning, whether you are taking exams, ICAN exams, or you are taking school exams or whatever, right? It's an opportunity that you can mix everything together. When you say no multitasking, yes, no multitasking a lot on other things, but when it comes to education, when it comes to schooling, exams and all that, you can mix all of those things. Take it as one of your courses or 4 of your courses. Take it and use it. I think also very important is the point she made about having cheerleaders, having accountability partners. Whether you're writing exams or whether in life, it's important to surround yourself with the right kind of people who believe, who are headed in the same direction. I'll put it that way. Who are headed in the same direction. Sharon was saying something earlier about in school. So I went to Bangkok University, and at the time when I was in Bangkok, we had this program with ICAN such that you could finish your ICAN 1 year after your uni, right? 4 years you do your BS, and the final year you devote it primarily to ICAN. I didn't take that route. I started from my 8 years. My 8 years, I did 1, 2, 3, did my skills, did my professional. So I went through the entire program, right? When I got to my final level, which was the professional level, I was in my 400 level. And the other guys who were taking the professional level at the same time. We're in 500. That was Shion said. We're in 500 level. And because I was ahead, right, of my peers, right, it was important to mix. It was important to get close to the guys who were in 500 level or who were already writing the professional level I wanted to write. I think it cannot be overemphasized for any exam that you want to write. Find people who are going in the same direction, right, and work with them, right. I remember then, Shion loses people, Gozi, Godboard, Labos, all of these guys, we worked together, we're studying together. Interestingly, the final level, that's the professional level, was the first I ever failed. All the other 4 levels before that, I passed all through and through. And in the final level, I got there, I passed all the other courses. And then in corporate reporting, I had 49. I was devastated. But then because I had a community of people who were working with me, a community of people who were my cheerleaders, who I was accountable to. Of course, I could not give up. I had gotten that far. I was at the final level, right? I literally passed all of those other papers. Unlike Shei's days, when if you fail one of the papers, you fail all. In our own days, if you fail one, you just have to retake that one. So they pushed me. They said, "Oh, you just have to put in a little more effort, and then you pass the final paper." And true to it, by the next day, I took the exam and I passed it, right? And this applies even to whatever else that you're doing in your life, right? Failure is not fatal. It's not fatal unless you give up yourself, right? There are times at work when it seems like, oh, you're never going to get it. There are times at work when it seems like, oh, you're not making as much money as you're supposed to be making. Of course, everyone in whatever we understand how we all have targets, we have all of these things. And there are times when it feels like, oh, I can't make this. But having the right group of people around you, so you have conversations with these people, share some of the challenges that you have, share some of the experiences that you have, and you can leverage the experience that you have. You can leverage the learning that you've had in their own other roles, in your own other in other situations. Leverage these experiences and use them to get ahead. And really, that's what has helped me so far. So I think the people factor is important. Understanding that what you have, whatever time, is a project, and focusing squarely on it is also important. And also understanding, again, there was a point I was going to make. I think several of the people who have spoken here are talking about past questions. I also thought it was important to have on that. Think about past questions as the difference between school and work, right? For anyone who is writing now. Think about past questions, about the difference between school and work. When you're in school, all of the theories are thrown in your face, right? You learn all of the principles, you learn all the theories. But when you get into the work environment is when you know that there is a huge difference, right? And past questions kind of help you bridge that gap, right? When you take past questions, you see all the different complexities that will apply to a particular context, right? You see all the different ways that this could be tested, right? If I'm taking an IAS, for instance, right? I've learned all the theories about it. But it is only when I looked at questions that I'm able to see, also it could actually be tested in this way. It could be tested not as a standalone question, but as a question that is infused in other questions. And that's how it is at work. No one will ask you directly at work about IAS 1 or IAS 10 or whatever, right? No one will ask you those things at work. What the kind of challenges that you will face at work, the complexity of the challenges you will face at work are challenges that would involve what? 10 IASs at once. And that's what past questions seek to help you achieve. Thinking about the question thinking about the application of the principles in so many different ways. And that way you're able to get ahead. So think about the difference between principles or school and applications or the actual work environment. So that will help you, that will give you enough context to begin to apply past questions, even whatever exam that you have. Right now, I'm writing CFE. Beyond the exams, beyond the core material in the test, there's so many past questions from several years. There's more exams that you can take. All of those things give you insight into how you can approach a principle, how you can approach a concept that has been taught in any of the learning materials.
Thank you so much, Olumide. I mean, you've just given us like 10 years inside these few minutes that you spoke, and it's very interesting, right? And things I picked out with dealing with past questions. I really like how you mentioned that, right? Making sure you test your understanding, making sure you have people that will cheer you on, making sure that you have people that are just there, right? And thank you so much for that, Olumide. And Dolapo wants to ask a very interesting question to all the panelists. So over to you, Dolapo.
Everyone, please can you confirm if you can hear me before I go on?
Hello, Dolapo. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Delapo.
Yes, we can.
I can hear you, Shane.
Okay, I'll just go ahead
Can you hear
since
me?
we can't hear Dolapo at the moment. Maybe it's the network. So the question now is, I mean, a lot of people have been asking when people even registered, people are asking how do you combine reading for your exam with a tedious job, right? And I know some people work in different organizations. Some people work in the big four, some people work in multinationals, and they don't have time for themselves. I know how it can be. I mean, me and Paul even worked together some years ago, so I know how it is when you have so much to do and so little time, right? So, but I mean, looking at everybody's career, everybody has achieved big things despite the fact that they have exam. So everybody has exam, everybody still has a tedious job, right? So wanted to ask you guys how you guys did it, the wisdom behind it, and how you've been able to really, really come out strong. I mean, because we want to also excel at work, do well in our exam, right? So if Temi Tokwe can hear me, Temi, just you will start with you, then we'll
Yeah,
take it
I
up to
can.
the other panelists.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? Can you all hear
Can
me?
Temi hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm speaking.
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Yes, we can.
All
Oh,
right,
okay.
thank
So
you. So,
I'll start with Paul since Temi cannot hear me. Paul, go over to you, Paul.
Temi
No,
can
tell
hear
me he's
you.
talking. She
I think
cannot
Temi
hear
is
him.
Temi is
talking.
speaking.
Yeah. Him is
Mm.
speaking.
Temi, please go on.
okay, so, hello everyone. So, I would say that combining classes and either work or school can be difficult. I know because I was once there. But I think having a workable reading timetable would do the job. So what do I mean by a workable reading timetable? So I've seen a lot of students send me timetable in past, and I see something like on Monday I will read this, on Tuesday I will read this, and all of that. Those ones are just generic timetable. So I feel having a structured timetable that says that okay, this time of the day, I mean, get your alarm, your whatever you are using. This time of the day is when I will read. So if you work let's say 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 8, I'm sure that there is a 1 hour break in between that they give you for your lunch. You can do 45 minutes of the 1 hour for your reading. You can set aside 45 minutes out of the 1 hour for your reading. And then when you get back to the house, eat, have a good sleep, then later in the middle of the night, you read. And the only way to keep to that timetable, to keep to that structure is if you have a should I call it alarm? If you have an alarm or you have a group of study buddies, maybe you guys read together. That way you are accountable. That way you have somebody to wake you up. Because if you are doing it alone, you might get tired, it might be boring and all of that. But if you have study buddies that once it's 2 a.m., everybody they ring your bell and then everybody is up, we are reading. I think that works. Then again is to be consistent. So some people read today, tomorrow they don't read, then next tomorrow. If you are not consistent like that, you even lose track of what you have read because you are not consistent. So I believe following a plan, if you have a plan, follow it, ensure you follow it. I know that sometimes life happens, but don't make it a habit not to follow your timetable. Have a structured plan, follow your plan, have a study body for accountability purpose. And I believe with that, you are able to combine your work and your studies and none is affected.
Thank you very much, Temi. Paul, please can you go on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks, Temi. I mean, to top up with what Temi has said, I think planning is key because you have an idea of your calendar, you know yourself, you know when you have to work. Some organizations will tell you you have to work 8 to 5, but in reality, I don't think you will work 8 to 5 because you have to transit from your home to your work. And if you are staying on the mainland and working on the island, you have to consider traffic. Going back to the house after you finish from work is also to be included. And then you get home, you're tired. The reality is everybody has his own limit. Everybody knows what can work for them. And for me, how I was able to do mine, I was quite lucky because from my house to the office was not that far. And I was able to plan my calendar properly. Once you plan your calendar properly, it helps you to be able to adjust for uncertainties, because definitely you have uncertainties that would happen, and your planning might be affected. Um, the bottom line of how to solve that is, you know your limits, you know your calendar, you know yourself. You should be able to adjust that around that. The second thing I would say is you should have a clear communication with your employer. So some employers are quite flexible. They would, if you tell them, oh, I'm writing an exam at this particular period, they might be able to give you, oh, okay, close at so time, okay, do this. And then some employers might not be that friendly for you to have. I mean, it might be peak period at your organization, and you have to be on the job, and it can be difficult sometimes. So another thing to do at that point is, when you understand your employer and you know what they would require from you, that helps you adjust that into your calendar, because everything basically is about your planning. And then another thing I would also like to mention is, during the period of writing an exam 9 to 5 and writing the exam as well, I think you should also eat well, because you want to stay healthy at that particular period. You don't want to fall sick during that period, because that destabilizes your calendar and your planning. And once that happens, I mean, it throws you out of balance. So if you have that also to consider, it helps you in adjusting into your calendar and your plan. Another thing I would say is, be your own self. You have to understand your own capability. Some people would read at night, some people will read at mornings, some people would say, because my friend is reading at 5 p.m. or 10 a.m., sorry, 10 p.m. at night, that's the best time for me to read. You should know yourself. And if you understand that I'm an early person, you know that, okay, that means you have to wake up earlier than schedule for you to be able to read before you go to work. And then if you know you're a late night person, you understand that when you come back at night, you have to read then. So each individual would have their own preference on how they want to read. And then once you have all those together with a solid calendar and a solid plan, I believe you should be able to navigate how to balance your 9 to 5 with writing an exam.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was really helpful. I mean, I really liked how you said we should eat well and communicate with our employer, right? And making sure that, I mean, we are properly prepared, right? And I mean, even Tammy also mentioned things like having a plan and following it. And I think that sometimes people are scared to even discuss it with their employer. But I mean, there's no need to be scared about it. Discuss it with them, right? And let them know. And yeah, I'm sure they will give you that access. So over to Olumide on the same question of how
Okay,
to balance work and writing exam in 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
okay, great. Thanks. I think again, there's probably nothing I want to say here that everyone else hasn't already said, right? Um, I would say again, for the benefit of those who are still in school, right? I'm saying that because I have that benefit, right? While you are still in school, while you are still in school, try to start the exams and pass them. You don't have that benefit, it doesn't mean you cannot pass the exam, right? And then all the other tips will then work for you, right? Um, Shay, again, I'll reference something what he said earlier. And when you write an exam, ICAN exam, take it as a project. Take it as a project. There are so many things competing for our time, so many things competing for our attention at the same time, right? The moment you see this as a project, it'll be easier to focus, right? You cannot be attending weddings every weekend like every other person if you are trying to pass the exam. Because if you are working 9 to 5, if you're working 8 to 5, the reality is, like Paul already said, 8 to 5 is not 8 to 5. People have busy seasons. People have so many other things that could come up at work. On a standard day, I'm at work at 7 a.m. That's the personal decision anyway. I'm at work at 7 a.m. I don't leave till about 8 p.m. Right? In between all of that, I still have to find time to study, right? So the question would then be, what would I need to leverage? I need to leverage my weekends, my Saturdays, my Sundays, right? I want to, as much as possible, set aside all the other things that could distract me. Well, again, it's important. They say when you're as a professional, it's important to build relationships. And we understand that some of these parties are the places where you actually build these relationships. These are the places where you build those networks. But right now, this is the project you have in front of you. So face it squarely, right? That's the first point I wanted to make. Another point that everyone else has made as well that I want to happen is the issue of time management, planning, and your motivation, right? Don't follow the crowd if it doesn't work for you. People study at night because it works for them. In actual fact, one thing that I realized over time is my body clock changing. There was a time I could study consistently from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and I have no issues with it. But can I do that now? My body clock has changed. Clearly, I mean, then I could still do it in school. I can't do that any longer because I work full time, right? How do I study 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and still expect to be productive at work? It won't work, right? So understand what works for you. If you don't have to study at night, don't study at night. So you get home, I leave work at 8, I'm home by 9 or thereabouts, right? I go to sleep immediately. Why? Because I know that if I have 6 hours of sleep, if I have 6 hours of sleep, that's 3 a.m. I'll be up by 3 a.m. I can study from 3 to 5:30 or 6, right? And then set out for work, right? So I've been able to put in 3 hours, right? One other thing I realized, again, understand your personal reality. I'm sharing my personal reality so that you can also think about yours and use that to your advantage. One other thing that I realized could work for me was, in the morning I have to drive to work, right? If I'm driving 1 hour, sometimes traffic is terrible. You're driving more than 1 hour, 2 hours. That's very precious time that I thought I could use. So what did I do? I had someone to drive. So that way, while I'm in the car and I'm on my way to work, I'm studying, right? That works for me. That is my personal reality. I think that will work for me, and I use it to my advantage, right? So think about all your personal circumstances and use up some of those things to your advantage. Um, I think Temitope also mentioned something about being consistent. It's one thing I also found out over time, right? That if you do it one day, the effort that you put in for that one day is all lost if you don't do it the next day because you're not consolidating. You're not adding to what you have learned in the past, right? You're having to start all over again several different times. I'm sure you know all of the time is gone. So you eventually lose out. So it's
Yeah.
important to not just start, but also sustain the momentum by studying as often as you can. Every day is important. There are days when you cannot go the
Thank
full
you
I
very
can't go the full length of the 3 hours. There are days when I can't do that, but I can do 1 half, and I do it. That helps you concentrate on what you've done in the past. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olumide. That was very helpful. So, Mr. Shea.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think everyone has spoken well. What I would just add to what everyone has said is to say, be yourself. Different strokes for different folks. Um, Take advantage of today when you are preparing for ICAN examination because you are not certain about tomorrow. I've seen many students that will tell you, I've already agreed with my boss. They are going to give me 6 weeks to go for the exam. They are going to give me 1 month and all that. I mean, plan more about today. That future can never be. I've seen students that plan based on that. During that leave period, they may fall sick and they won't be able to achieve anything. I've seen a student that plan based on that, and during that leave period, they will tell them, sorry, we can't give you 6 weeks again. We are going to give you 4 weeks. Somebody has just left your department, and all those stories. So take advantage of every time you have today. Just like Olumide mentioned, you can read in the BRT. You can take 30 minutes off your break time. Do that which works for you. If you are looking for a comfortable time and all those you may not. All of them will add up at the end of the day. I mean, I can't say you should not work because you need work to feed yourself, you know. But for everybody on this program this afternoon that are still in school, this is the best time to write your professional exam. When you start work, I mean, it's going to be a lot more difficult because of various factors that will come into play. So that is the point I'm going to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olunde. And what you said about knowing yourself is very important because self-awareness, what works for Paul might not necessarily work for me. So that's where self-awareness comes in, which is also one of our modules that we are packaging for you guys. So we'll be asking Mr. Olumide, I'm sorry, Mr. Sheyi. Mr. Sheyi, we know for a fact that you have over 20 years experience in teaching ICAN and you have come across a lot of students. We want to ask you for your take on what you think the students' downfalls are that causes failure, the frequency, what you would look for. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, you are back now.
Okay, sorry. So the summary of my question is what will you say is the common reason for failure for students and not so obvious reasons? So there are some reasons that people say are obvious if you don't prepare well and
We've
also
lost you for
oh,
some second again.
can you hear me now? Am I back?
Hello.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I
Can you hear
can.
me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, Mr. Sheyi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So we're asking you what you think the common reasons for student failures are, the obvious and not so obvious reasons.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would say number one is that most students they don't know what they are going into when they come to ICANN class. I see that some come as either because of peer pressure, my friend is doing ICANN, I want to do, or some, my parents has asked me to go and do ICANN, let me go and do, you know. So when they come, they don't know what they are in for, you know. So for me, I think that's a major pitfall. Anybody going into writing a professional exam must first of all sit down, get information about that exam, and be determined to pull it through. I see many students falling under this category. The other one is students generally, they don't start preparation on time. You know, they tell you, oh, the exam is too far. Let's say they start lecture in January or February for a May diet, for instance. May is too far. I can't start reading now. So they allow their notes to accumulate, and 2 3 weeks to the exam, they want to start everything. They want to assimilate the syllabus in that space. They get overwhelmed and they get discouraged. That's another pitfall. Another one is um, students don't study past question. I had one of the panelists talking about you need past question. What past question does is that it boosts your confidence. It gives you various scenarios that you are likely to see in the exam. Some of these scenarios, you may not even see them in the textbook. The lecturer may not even cover all of them in the classroom. But at your own personal study, if you're able to look at all these past questions, I mean, it will make a lot of difference. And of course, boost your confidence. I tell people that confidence is like 30% of the success in any examination. Once you are confident, you're able to think well, you're able to reason well. In fact, what you have not read before, you're able to think and improvise in the exam hall and write something down because you have confidence. And confidence comes as a result of syllabus coverage, studying enough past questions before the examination. So students don't study past question is another pitfall. Another one is that students don't want to be themselves. My friend, Mrs. A, is reading at night. Like somebody mentioned on this discussion, you can't read at night. Your own time is day. Why don't you just read during the day? They end up going to the class at night, and you will see them sleeping all through the night. And you'll be like, in fact, you know what they do? They will say, I will not be the first to sleep. They will not be watching for somebody to sleep before they go. At the end of it, they are not even assimilating anything. Be yourself. If you're a day person, study during the day. If you're a night person, study during the night and ensure that you are making progress. Another pitfall is you see students, they don't know a particular topic. Instead of them to ask their fellow students or to even ask the lecturer, they are shy. They will think I don't know anything. Come on, it's a matured class. What you don't know, you don't know. Seek for help before the examination date and be better than the person. I heard Sheun saying that at some point he was asking Olumide to come and teach him, and all. That is the way to do professional exam. What you don't know, ask questions. So you see them, they are shy, they don't want people to abuse them and all that. It's not right. Then the last one is you see students, they don't move with the right set of people. I mentioned to you, some people come into this program without any plan. They've asked me to come. I am here. If you now find yourself in that category of a setting, I mean, you can't go far. I'm sorry to say, we see them and you're like, I hope these people will realize what they are doing on time and change before the examination day. So these are some of the pitfall we see. Another one is information overload. ICAN has got recommended textbook produced by one of the world publisher, and in the school they've also attended, they have study pack. You see them buying this textbook, buying this textbook, buying this textbook, and at times some of these textbook will contradict one another, and the students are confused. Which one do I take now? So I tell people you don't need information overload. ICAN study test is very, very good. It's well prepared. It's a solid material to pass this exam. Support it with your class note and jottings and study find finder or insight as the case may be. So students should be wary of information overload. They bring, in fact, some will bring new textbooks 3 weeks to the exam. You're like, where do you want to start from? What have you been doing since 4 months ago? So these are some of the things we've seen, you know, uh, as pitfall of students, generally speaking. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And you're correct with everything, late preparation, using past questions. And on that note, for Temitope, we have a question for you. This was a question that came mainly from the comment section. A lot of people had that question for you. Self-study in 2 sentences, what would you say? Self-study or tutorial class? Which one will you choose if you had to choose? Or do you think it should be an option or it should be both?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, we
so it
can.
depends on for me, it depends on the course. So courses that are mainly theoretical, like auditing, management, I don't think, well, for me, I don't think there is any need to receive lectures, to be very honest. I think it's something you can sit down yourself, you can read. And when I was writing my exam, in I think finals we did audits. I paid for the lecture, but I did not receive the lecture. So the period of the lecture, I used it to do something else. That was the same thing I did in skills, MG. I did not receive the lecture, apart from I think the ethical part, the management part, because it's story. And the story is interesting actually. For MG, the story is actually a very interesting one. So you can read it. Why the core things like SFM? Ha, my dear, you cannot read SFM on your own. No. I think you should receive lectures. It doesn't have to be physical lectures. It could be video lectures. It could be personal lectures. Like you pay a tutor to take you private classes. It could be that, and it could be general. It could be general, depending. So I think it's dependent on the course. If you are someone that likes to be taught, I think you should receive lecture. And some people they don't like people teaching them. They like to teach themselves. So if you can teach yourself, why not? Why not just go with self-study self-study? But for me, I will do hybrid. I will do both. For theoretical ones, I will just do self-study. For the ones that involve calculation and a lot of complexities, I'll just do lectures. So yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Temitope, for your time. We would like to thank every one of you, all our panelists, Mr. Sheyi, Paul, Olumide, Temitope. Thank you very much for your time. This has been very powerful. We are 9 minutes behind schedule, but we still want to thank you. We hope that everybody has gotten one or two things. I got a lot of things. We spoke about accountability, which can be found in module 5 of our product. We spoke about preparation techniques, that's module 4 of our product. We spoke about reading techniques. We spoke about self-awareness. And just to wrap up, I'd like to say another very big thank you to all our panelists for this wonderful section. Thank you very much. Please let's thank them in the comment section. We are very grateful for your time.
You're
Media.
welcome.
Thanks, Zorapo. Thanks for having us, and always a pleasure to be on it.
Thank you very much.
So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Well done.
Thank you, everyone. It was indeed a pleasure to be on this summit. Thank you so much.
I wrote skills exam for the first time and I failed 3 repeats. And at that point, I was like, okay, that is it. I'm not writing ICAN ever again. Down. I was sad. I was discouraged that I failed. Even after sacrificing or reflecting, I was really studying. I was just reading, and I still failed. I felt like a failure. I felt I couldn't do anything right. And that was actually my first time failing 3 exams at once. So yeah, that's my story.
So, Ayo, why do you think you failed?
I can see that bus is really wide here, and it is very difficult to cover. So I just thought this part I thought were important. I just see the exam hall and I can't shame me. So some of the part that I didn't later study came out in the exam. Sad. Also, I didn't answer the questions in a professional way.
So, Ayo, how was the coaching session for you?
It was really nice. You're so welcoming at the beginning, and that allowed me to be very expressive, especially about my fears. I like that you give answers to some of the questions that had been bothering me. And you mentioned that it was possible to cover the syllabus, and it gave me a push to study harder. Yes.
We have some amazing bonuses for you, right? We have a summit, virtual summit with one of the best speakers in the accounting profession in Nigeria, and trust me, we are just going to give you specifically this bonus, right, for our 3 sessions. We're not even going to make it public, right? We're just going to make it for just people that will pay for this course, and I'm happy you really be on this program, right? And also, you get 10% off to our preferred and recommended tuitionals, right? I've taught in these tuitionals before, and I understand the vision that they have, and I've seen the results they've done, and I can say, okay, these guys, we can go with them. So I'm giving you all that together, right? And you have a lot of clarity, even for your life, even for your career, even for many other things, right? And at the same time, we have some live interviews that we'll be doing with some top leaders in the profession, top leaders in the accounting profession in Nigeria, and we'll be putting that as a bonus too, and in some of our modules, right? So, guys, honestly, I myself, my team, the coaches, and the top leaders, we say thank you, and we say welcome to becoming a chartered accountant as one attempt. Thank you.
Jide Adiola. Jide Adiola has worked at PwC for about 2 decades. At PwC, he was focused on providing assurance and advisory services to a portfolio of indigenous and multinational clients. He has been at the forefront of driving business development for PwC, preferring solutions to clients, managing business risks, supporting business process redesign and re-engineering, and complete business transformation for his clients. He is also involved in significant client capital market and capital raise transactions. In the past 15 years, Jide has focused on energy utilities and natural resources clients, performing audits, due diligence, management consulting, commercial evaluations, and many C-suite or board-level engagements. He has worked across many PwC teams in Africa, Middle East, and the Americas, supporting quality programs for the firm. Jide is a performance coach. He supports and guides people in enhancing their capabilities, breaking mental limitations and inhibitions. He guides individuals to gain optimal performance in work and life. He also helps to create opportunities for growth and development. Jide is passionate about small and medium-scale business. He spends some time mentoring startups and working with businesses to scale up their growth. He's an execution strategist and helps turn plans to achievement. Jide is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He obtained his master's in business administration from the University of Warwick and his bachelor's degree from the University of Lagos. He was also the host of the PwC podcast called Let's Talk Energy. Jide was recently appointed by Mr. President as the Executive Commissioner Corporate Services and Administration at the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, where he has oversight for the internal operations of the regulatory institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Jide Adeola.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jide.
Okay, thank you very much. So good afternoon. Today we're talking about something very, very interesting, and it's about what it takes to excel and rise to the top. So I'd like to start by, a little bit of an introduction of myself. I know you've listened to that summary, just a couple of seconds ago, but I just wanted to say that I didn't start out as an accountant. I started out as a science student, and my undergraduate degree was in the sciences. And when I finished about 23 years ago, I wasn't really thinking about the sciences. I was just thinking about, I wasn't thinking about accounting. I was just thinking about how advance in the sciences. But here we are today, so many years later, somewhere doing accounting and many other things, and it sort of demonstrates the possibility that, you can have as an individual and the opportunities that are in front of you to be able to write your own story the way you want it and the way you like it. So today, as we talk about how to excel and rise to the top, I would like to just focus on 4 things that I felt has been useful to me as an individual in the last maybe 23 odd years since I've finished university. All right, so the first thing I would like to talk about today as one of the things that can help you to rise to the top is commitment. Every time we talk about commitment, the general idea is for people to think about what they do on a day-to-day basis and, how they are committed to it. Sometimes people go to relationships. Other times people look at the present circumstances of their lives. But I like to say that commitment is about, being dedicated to something or to a cause or to a purpose. And succeeding at even the very, very simplest goals in our life requires us to exercise commitment. So every day and in every way, you will see the need for commitment. Sometimes it could be about your personal goals. Other times it could be about anything else that you go through in life. It could be about business goals. It could be about fitness goals. It could even be about your own finances. And of course, any other goals that you set. But what we find out is that commitment requires you to make some extra effort. And without that, nothing is really achieved. So I would have loved to tell you how easy it is to run the race and, to get to where you're going. But most times we have to put in something extra, and that is where commitment comes in. And if you think about it, where you are today and all the things that you achieved today is just an evidence of the extent of your commitment to all the things that you've ever done in life. It's a reflection of your personal commitment right from cradle to now. everything that you've done is just about that commitment. So it's not about just stating something or pledging to something. It's about keeping those commitments in the face of foreseen and unforeseen circumstances. Let me illustrate briefly. Imagine a scenario where you're committed to exercising on a daily basis. And then on one particular fine morning, you stepped out and you were at your door and it was raining. And then, you wanted to run, but it was raining. How then do you become committed to that particular activity on that particular day? Well,
Hello, everyone. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think Mr. Jide's
Yeah, so
network went
Mr.
off. We're
Jide
just
just
waiting for
went
him.
off for a bit.
Can you hear me, Dolapo?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Mr. Jide will join us shortly. I think his network went off, right? And I mean, while we wait for him, I mean, please just make sure you tag us on LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, look for Become a Chartered Accountant. Tag us and tell us what you wrote, what you learned today. I mean, we've had so many amazing speakers, right? So please tell us what you've learned. Tell us what you've gained, right, from this, and tag. Okay, Mr. Jide is back. Thank you, sir.
I apologize for that breaking transmission. I don't know what happened, but thank God I'm back. All right, so thank you very much. I think I was hearing something about what you've learned so far. I've also learned a couple of things listening to the past couple of sessions. So I was talking about commitment. And what you find out is that it really takes commitment, putting in the extra effort to achieve anything that you set out to do in life. So if you think about it, as I mentioned earlier on, all the things that you find yourself at today is the sum total of all the efforts you've made from a commitment standpoint to your life. So I want to just center on four things as I speak through all of this. First, I've talked about commitment. Two, I'm going to talk about focus. Three, I will talk about what it actually means to be motivated, sort of different from what people generally conceive about motivation. I'll talk about sacrifices along with that, and then I'll end up with talking about my own journey. These few things I believe would be very vital in the couple of minutes that I have, because I've been told I have 20 minutes thereabout. So let me just get back to it. I've spoken a little bit about commitment. So one of the things I would like to say is that activity and commitment are not exactly the same thing. If you realize and you look back, you see people that have gone to the gym every day of the week, right? But not necessarily achieving the objective they set out there to do. So you might have a lot of activities, right? But if they're not geared towards your objective or your goals, you might not achieve the results that you set out to do. So, but what do you then do? If you can convert the requirements that you have or the goals that you have in life, right, to habits, it's easy for you to be committed to everything that you set out to do. So why don't you start each day by turning all the long-term objectives, the short-term objectives that you have, into something that you can convert into a habit. So for example, you're planning for your exams in May. if you're sitting for the main diet and you have to read SFM, and it has 13 chapters, and the chapters has maybe subsections, maybe you read that little subsection of that particular one in that day, and you convert it to a habit of reading for maybe 10 to 30 minutes or 30 minutes to an hour every day, that particular course. The same thing that happens with reading a book or any lifestyle that you want to have. If you can find a way to transform it into habit, then you have actually achieved the most significant milestone of working towards that particular goal. So that's commitment for you. Something very quickly. Motivation genuinely only happens by action. I'll say that again. Motivation genuinely only happens by taking action. So when you break down your objective, some people say that the reason why we don't do well in these exams and all those things in life is because I'm not really motivated. I've tried before and I've lost it. The only way you can motivate yourself really, and even scientifically, is for you to convert those things into action and for you to do it on a consistent basis. So completing a routine, when you finish a particular milestone, let's say you finish reading chapter 1, that gives you more motivation mentally and emotionally to keep going. So when you complete those routine, it gives you more confidence, more assertiveness, and it even helps you to manage the fear of failure. And one of the greatest bottlenecks that we also will talk about in a bit is how you overcome the anxiety and the fear of failure. So these little steps that you are taking will save you so much effort and so much time when the exams are closed. I remember in my university days, I never read at night. And in my own estimate, I wasn't the best in class, but I finished top 5% of my class. But I can tell you, throughout my stay in university, I never read in the night. At the beginning, I was doing camaraderie with all the people that read in the night, but it didn't work for me. And after a while, I found another way to it. So I woke up very early, 5 a.m. every day, and go to the same class. From 5 a.m. to 8 accomplish more speed and more speed in terms of what I did. So these little steps will save you a lot of time. You must also be willing. I heard sometime in some of the presentation by the others in a group and things like that. When you work in a group, you must also be willing and be committed to make your own inputs in that group. No matter how fit you are, you have to do that same journey alongside with others. So that commitment and willingness to support others in that group you find yourself is also very, very vital. So recall that in any goal-oriented team, you must also play your own part. The next thing I want to talk about is not to be afraid of even the examination itself, of anything at all that you try to accomplish in life. Don't be afraid when you get served lemons. So if you fail, take the failure as something that will help you to move to the next milestone. So when they serve you lemon, why don't you make lemonade out of the lemon? Because life will always offer you failure from time to time. And one thing I would like to say today is that acceptance of failure is not a bad thing. But moving forward quickly is the essential thing that will get you on course and on target, to get back on your goal. So if you live in fear and the embarrassment that you failed ICAN, then you never succeed or get to the finish line. So I want to tell you today that if it's possible for you to just, change your mindset and your approach to failure, then you most likely will get to the next level. And I'm saying this in a different way, like have a very good relationship with failure. Right? I'm not saying that you should have a habit of failing all the time, but when you fail, have a habit of knowing that it's just, something that happened to help you to learn how to do it better. So, being your best, despite all this, very important and vital in your strive towards excellence and the next phase. But you must also do that with hope at the back of everything you do. The interesting thing about hope is that hope is not really a rational approach to things, but in setting goals, right, you must appeal to your innermost doubt and compel your subconscious mind to the assertion that things are still possible. And that is what hope is. That's why I like to look at hope. Convincing yourself that it's still possible, no matter all the odds that you're facing. So when you focus on that, you forget about beating yourself, accept the present circumstances, and never blame your misfortune on the conduct of the examination and all those other peripheral factors. But just take the little steps and you see that in no time, everything will get right back on time. I want you also to think about one more thing before I jump to the next part. which is, getting rid of all these perceived restrictions. In actual fact, there are no restrictions. Most of the time, the distractions that are in your way are the things that are actually limiting us from achieving whatever you set out to do. So your background may really not be relevant, even though it shapes you so far. But from this point forward, your background is irrelevant. The future is what matters, and how you align with all of that. And then, so the next point I want to talk about, I've talked about commitment. Now I want to talk about focus. Before I talk more about focus, there's something that comes to my mind as I'm speaking right now, which is the fact that there's a lot of distractions that we have today when we talk about anything at all, whether we want to succeed in life or we want to talk about ICAN as an exam. There is a lot of digital deluge that floods us from time to time. And, this time around, it appears that we sort of have turned our brain into something like a dumpster, where anything at all we see on the internet, we see around us, information, even on TV or on screens or news, becomes the basis of how we approach things in life. So I talk about 4 things in that area. The first one is that digital deluge, that unending flood of information that is dumped on us. And sometimes that's what makes people anxious. If you cast your mind back to when COVID started, a lot of people could not step out of their houses because they were anxious, and they had a lot of sleeplessness because of that digital flooding of information. It's the same thing with anything that you strive to do in life. Try to identify with the things that are essential and are necessary for taking the next step. Somebody talks about 70-40% rule, 70% and 40% rule. When you've gathered 40% of all the information you need, you should be able to start taking a decision. And when you've gathered about 70% or anything more than 70%, seems to be like you are accumulated information. 40%, anything below 40% of the information you need to succeed is not enough, right? Whereas anything above 70% before you start making your decision is like you're trying to be extremely, extremely cautious. So I think that if you can apply those principles, it will maybe help you to filter out things that are not necessary at any point in time. At the same time, we talk about digital distractions, inability to sustain your focus for a long period of time, that is even necessary for the relationship that will keep you at work and learning. There's also the fact that some people have this, inability to remember details because of the fact that they focus too much on digital media. It's something that is happening these days, and I want to encourage everybody to look at all these areas of our lives. Some people don't make any decision at all without reference to any digital source. So, for example, you can't decide what to eat until you have checked Google for nice place to eat in Lagos and all those kind of stuff. So I think that with time, you can find a way to curtail all of this and then enhance your focus. So now, speaking more of focus, now I want you to think about one thing. Find ways in which you can reset your feeling towards the area that you're currently struggling with. How can you reset your feeling? If you cast back your mind to back maybe secondary school or university, think about the courses that you love, the lecturer or the teacher. You find that you were very successful on those courses. Think about the courses that you hated. You also find that you probably would not maybe be your best in those courses. So find ways to change or to reset your feeling towards an area that you're struggling with. In my days, people usually had a challenge with SFM because of the fact there's a we had a course called MCDS, multidisciplinary case study, something like that. And people always had a challenge with it because you can't really read a particular textbook to get ready for that particular subject. You have to be all-encompassing, think outside the box to be able to know what to do, right? So why don't you change your feeling towards that? Don't be anxious about it. Instead, believe in yourself that you can accomplish it. And this applies to anything at all that you set out to do in life. The second thing I would like to talk about when it comes to focus is reinforcing your knowledge with activities, reinforcing the understanding you have with activities. Sometimes maybe when you are taking a walk, try and remember something that you're struggling with and fix on it for a couple of minutes and then try and see whether you will recall it. When you have an activity that is shaped around something you're trying to remember, it sticks longer. It's just the way the flexibility of the brain is. We remember things on the basis of the events that surround them better. Okay, so think about when you taught somebody about a subject. Think about when you taught someone maybe a course you're struggling with, but you read it and then you decided to teach someone else that same topic. You find that you remember it more because of the fact that there was an experience with it. And that is why there is difference between an experiential knowledge and book knowledge. So refresh your understanding by expanding that knowledge base. And how do you do that? Is by also having activities and experiences that consolidate learning. The last thing I want to talk about on that focus is revisiting your emotions and thoughts and getting rid of things that are constantly looping in your brain. Sometimes the reason why people fail is not because they did prepare enough, but because you're not engaging with the process leading up to any activity at all, whether it's an exam, because of the things that your mind is speaking to you. All right. So think about it. Those voices that you hear in your mind, those continuous loop of, this exam is hard, though. This thing is difficult. Those things that continue to put in your head. They're not just a minor setback. Actually, most times they are major setback. They may seem not to be, they may seem to be harmless, and to be able to remember the things that is necessary in any activity at all in life. And in fact, for some people, it might actually lead to depression if it is unchecked. So get rid of those mental loops and all those self-doubting things that go in your head. And instead, replace them with something else. Replace them with better information. Replace them with things that will contribute more in terms of the concentration levels that you have. The best way to get rid of a bad habit is to replace it with a better habit. And from there you keep moving and keep shifting up. So shift your mindset up and believe in yourself. Why we focus, one of the things that is very essential is our alignment with our own, purpose in life. Sometimes I ask people, what's your purpose? What are you about? What is it's not something you should waste your time thinking really about. When you think about the essential qualities that you have, the gifts, the things that you do very easily, your purpose usually is usually around those things. So for example, maybe, and then the way you also carve your purpose and explain it to yourself is also very essential. So look at this one. Let's imagine somebody who makes cakes, right? What if her purpose in life or his purpose in life is to provide joy, right, and happiness to families as they go around about a table eating delicious cakes, right? You see, the way it's framed is a bit different. One is like work, one is like joy. So when you frame your purpose in life around the things that will make you happy, it also becomes something that you want to always do. So it becomes the reason why you wake up. So when I ask you, what is your why? What is your identity? The things that you identify with are the things that you always will want to consistently do from time to time. It's just like people who are diehard fanatics of a particular club in the European Premier League and all that. It's the same thing. So it might be a specific career height. It may be, things that you want to accomplish in life. Once you can define and align your purpose with those things, that it helps you to move forward towards them. And one more essential thing is that it helps you to dissociate yourself from those present circumstances, because you now have a new alignment. And that new alignment is with respect to your goals. When you know your why, it helps you to wake up every morning with joy, with happiness, and then you focus on the things that are important. And in fact, that is even a better motivational factor, amongst other things. So, but I want to say that purpose alone is not good enough. All right. So some people say, I know my purpose in life. My purpose is to help and to inspire. All right. But what about other things that your life is all around, right? Understand yourself, know yourself, love yourself. Okay, and know that you're made of more than what you put your mind to do, because that helps you to see that all these things that you're trying to achieve are really not big stuff, the things that you can easily accomplish with dedication, with commitment, and with focus. All right, so we've talked about two things so far. The first one we've talked about is commitment. The second thing we've talked about is focus. Now I'm going to move to the third thing I want to talk about within the limited time I have, which is about sacrifices. What are the things that you sacrifice to excel in life? Okay, I'm going to try and draw a minor equation, which is great achievement equals great sacrifice. And poor achievement sometimes, right, is not equal, but sometimes it's equal to poor sacrifice. I talked about purpose and focus, but the thing that gets in the way of your vision, the things that get in the way of your purpose, the things that get in the way of your goals, are the things that you actually should sacrifice. I'll say that again. The things that get in the way of your purpose, your vision for life, the things that get in the way of your objectives, your goals, your personal aspirations, those things are the things that you should think about sacrificing on. So I must say that sacrificing does not mean self-sabotage. So I don't want people to get out of today's lesson and then go out and say, they say we should sacrifice. So you cut out everything in your life. No, it does not mean self-sabotage, but it means that you must find a balance. So there are things that you cannot sacrifice. You cannot sacrifice your health. Okay? Sleeping for 2 hours every day is dangerous. All right? You cannot sacrifice vital relationships that help you to be emotionally balanced. And sometimes when something is demanding from you, any relationship that is demanding of you much more than your well-being, that sort of relationship is what you sacrifice, is that thing that you end. All right? So it doesn't also mean that sacrifice must be a permanent thing. It doesn't mean you have to be on a lifelong, consistent sacrifice mode. Some people do that and they achieve so much in life, but they drop down dead. All right? So what I'm saying is this. You can have a temporary sacrifice, in which case you're saying that, look, I'm going to keep on to eating vegetables for the next 1 month so I can be fit. All right? You can do that. That's a temporary sacrifice. But the key thing I'm saying is that you must have a healthy balance. Sacrificing too much can make you, it can have severe consequences on you. And in fact, some people separate themselves from everybody because they say, now it's ICAN, I want to study. Every other thing is not important. Right? And then they end up as lonely individuals after they've achieved their goals. All right? But there are some times when you set yourself aside so you can focus on the things that are important to you. So I must also say that your ambitions might call for, things that would focus more on changing your habits, right? For example, changing the kind of food that you eat to a healthier one. It might call that sometimes you sacrifice your vacation so you can focus on that business idea that you're nurturing, or that particular exam you're going to write. Sometimes it may mean that you spend less time on weekends binging on series 1 to 6 of Game of Thrones or whatever that is, right? But sometimes it means that you will not do all those activities that some of your colleagues indulge in every Friday, right? Yes, if it takes that, then you must sacrifice that to get to the top. They always say that life is not a bed of roses. But it's true to a lot of extent, right? It depends on how you make the bed and what you make the bed of, isn't it? So I think that we must look at sacrifice as something that we do to be able to get ahead of where we are, because nothing is ever served on a platter, right? You must work for it. You must work hard for it. So we've talked about 3 things now. The first one I talked about is commitment. The second thing I talked about is focus. And in focus, I talked about things that, are distractions that you must get rid of. And the third thing I talk about is the sacrifices that will help you to get to the top, the things you need to focus on. And lastly, I want to talk about the journey to the top, the things that you must look at when you're on your journey to the top. So it might be in terms of writing your ICAN exam. It might be something else. What are the things that you must focus on? So for me, these are the important things. Number 1, try to be a part of the important things in your organization, wherever you are. Try to be a part of the important stuff. Okay, if your organization has a focus for this particular year, that focus becomes your own focus as well. That's what you sort of also try to address, because by doing that, you're contributing. Your contributions will definitely get rewarded. All right, and then you put in your best effort into that and focus on the important stuff. If there are no important stuff, say for example you're an entrepreneur, then create the important stuff, right? Create the important stuff if that is the case. All right. And then you'll be able to also achieve more. Build healthy relationship is my number 2 point. You must have healthy relationships. Sometimes the sum total of where you are in life, also, apart from the sort of things that you've done to yourself, the food you're eating and all that, is also the sum total of the kind of relationships that you have. Now, business is all about relationships. Business is all about relationships. Think about it. Sometimes we have the notion that when you write from company A Nigeria Limited to company B Nigeria Limited, maybe you are a supplier of some goods and services and you're trying to contract with another company. A lot of times people look at it and think about the fact that a company is writing the other one. No, that's not the case. It is always Mr. A in company A that is writing Mr. B in company B. All right. So you must focus on how you build relationship, right? You must have a good relationship with anything at all in life. In fact, I must dare say that when it comes to ICAN, have a very good relationship with ICAN. Imagine, have a very good relationship with the exam that you're about to write. So you're not hating the exam, you're not angry about the exam, you're not feeling unhappy about the setting of the exam. You'll go into ICAN exam hall or whatever it is that you set out to do in life, and you're looking at it and say, look, you this exam, you're going to work for me. All right. Anything at all, you set your hands to do or you set your eyes on, you can see that you have a good relationship with it and you're working towards achieving it. The next thing I want to talk about is prioritizing the allocation of the resources you currently have towards the things that will make you succeed in life. I'll talk about that a little bit. Sometimes, let's say your salary every month is 10 naira. Sometimes what we do is that we allocate this 10 naira on the basis of, what we feel that we immediately need to address. But one of the things I would like to say at this particular phase of our lives, especially as young people, is to understand that you need to prioritize the allocation of your resources to what matters to you, what helps you to succeed. That, my friends, that, ladies and gentlemen, is commitment. So if, for example, you need to accumulate more skills from a networking standpoint, go and buy those books now. All right. If you need to maybe excel, in a particular area of your life, maybe you're not good with time management, go and buy books on time management. Maybe you procrastinate a lot. And one of the things that causes procrastination is fear. All right. So maybe you procrastinate a lot. Then go and get books that address those. Maybe you're afraid or you're anxious. Learn about meditation, mindfulness, the things that help you to relax and calm yourself down. So understand that is commitment. All right. So understand the professional development framework wherever you find yourself. For ICAN, it's like the syllabus. In life in general, what are the things that is required for you to succeed in life? All right. I'll say 3 more things because I see my time is almost up. Be mentored if you can. Mentoring can save you a lot of time. All right. It can save you a lot of time. I can tell you that one of the things that is very, very, very essential for me in my own life is the fact that some of the learnings I have is based on 30 years of someone else's experience. Imagine that. Do you know that in 10 minutes, you can capture the essential learnings of somebody's 30 years of experience in 10 minutes, through mentoring, because then it helps you to focus on the most important things and the lessons of those people's lives. Some of the books we read, right, is a summary of someone's life. And the same thing can be taught to you in 10 minutes of engagement on a consistent basis with someone that can mentor you. People matter. Surround yourself with people that have similar goals as yours and create an environment that supports that. Or if you don't create the environment will create something that controls you. So completely close the tab daily. When you finish work, close the tab. Try and relax your mind. If your mind is always in a loop, try and find something to replace that loop. Play music, listen to an audio book. Do something that takes your mind away from work, because that way you will find that your mind will be at peace. Lastly, you can do everything if you focus. Stay focused on the things that you're committed to. So thank you very much for listening. I wish you a very successful journey in your life, and I hope you've learned something vital from me. Have a very good evening.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, we're extremely grateful for your keynote speech, and I mean, we learned a lot of things, right? And you spoke around 4 points, right? So we'll just ask 2 questions, and I can see you guys comment. Just, let us know how the session was for you. I mean, how it was, what you learned. So my question is, I like the way you even spoke around your experience and mentorship and purpose, right? So coming into purpose, people are like, how does that even relate to my exam? How does what I want to achieve long term help me to even stay focused on my exam, right? And I know that for you to have gotten to this stage, it must have taken you a lot of drive, right? And having a clear purpose, a definition of what you want, right? So we want you to just, speak on how purpose really drives everything that we do, right? And how we can just figure it out in a way. Because some people like, what should I do? How will I know what I'm supposed to do long term? Like, how can they go about it? The few steps in some little words. And we'll just take the last question. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. This is one of the things I like talking about. So I hope I have enough time. So, everybody here on earth is here for a reason. And sometimes when you ask yourself the question, what is the essence of life? It's usually around what you're naturally bestowed with and the gifts and the talents that you have. But all those things are not enough if you don't understand what you're meant to use them for. All right. So the first thing you have to actually think about is the understanding of yourself. So who are you? What's your personality? You understand? What is the fabric of my life? What am I? What is my what are my talents? What are my callings? What are the things that I'm here to do? All right. So in understanding purpose, you also ask yourself, what are the things that I find a natural disposition to do? So for some people, they find it natural for them to help other people. All right. So you then have to figure, what kind of help am I supposed to do? I give everybody my salary, for example? No. Okay. So in defining that, you have to sit down, right? And look at the talents you have, right? You are, for example, a helper. You help people, you like helping people, you enjoy helping people, right? So you have to ask yourself, if I keep helping people, what is it going to give me in life? Do you understand? So your purpose is not about yourself, it's more around what you will do, right, to give both yourself and everybody else that is in the world, right, meaning. That is how I see it. You understand? So first things first, think about the things that you're naturally good at. All right. Think about how you can use it to engage the world. It is in that process that you find your purpose. All right. So thank you very much. So understand yourself. Think about the things you're naturally gifted at. Think about how you can use that thing to engage the world. Once you think about those three things, you can simplify your purpose in a few words. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm a very good cook. I love cooking. All right. I'm talented at cooking. Cooking gives me joy. Right? How can I use cooking to change the world? Maybe for me, right, is to create jobs through cooking. Are you getting me? Right? So that becomes your purpose. I'm creating excellent experiences through cooking. So anytime you hear cooking, what happens to you? You jump up, you're excited, it's time to start cooking. Okay? All right. So I will leave it at that because of time.
Yes.
I could engage on this for a long time, but let's just leave it at that.
Thank you so much. I mean, I really learned that. Sorry, I'm echoing that we should look at the talents that we have and what we already have that God has given to us and use that to define what we want long term, right? So I think people are asking for the final question. People are asking about your ICAN journey, right? How it was for you. I think they really want to know.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's very exciting. So let me tell you how I stumbled on ICAN. So I studied sciences. I studied biochemistry in the university. So a lot of people may not know that, but I studied biochemistry. After a 4-year course, I went to serve in the north, and then some people came to the campsite to do a test. It was a bank then, back in year 2000, I think 2001. So I was on camp and they came to do a test. So I just sat and I did a test, and I found myself working in a bank a couple of interviews later. When I got into the bank, I didn't understand what they were doing. So the first thing I went to do was I went to a bookshop. I got every book I could find on banking and finance, and I started reading it. And then I started looking at professional career paths around banking. So I found ICAN. Then I was just researching. I came across ICAN, and then I began that process. So I first registered as a student. Back then, you have to first register as a student before you then begin to write the exam. So I registered as a student. They give you a certificate of that and an ID card, and then I progressed with my journey. After a few years, I sort of abandoned it because I didn't find a natural alignment with what I wanted to do at that time. So I did the first one. Then they gave me a lot of exemption. So the only thing I had to write was just one course in my foundation course. It was just one course I had to write in my first exam. I wrote it, I passed it, but I left it there because at that point in time, I didn't feel that I needed it. So I then came back and I left banking and I joined PwC in 2003. When I joined PwC in 2003, I then re-engaged again with ICAN because I could now see the essence of it. Now, this takes me back to what I was saying earlier on. One of the things is that when you don't know where you're going in life, You might find that you will just be acquiring things that are not necessary for you. All right. So imagine if you're writing, now I find this a lot. You find people writing all kinds of exams, but they are not in alignment with what their career purpose is or what their purpose in life is.
True.
Right. So whatever I've done over the years, I find that alignment. It makes me to know that I just need to focus on specific things that will take me to my destination. And that is to answer the question you asked earlier on. So, but back to what I was saying, I started ICAN. I just went to the bookstore again. Bookstore is your friend, so I bought a lot of books. Then ICAN had some. They hadn't perfected the study pack, but they had this revision kit, so I bought all of them. And then, of course, I would read the study packs. I would read whatever I could find in the bookshops and all that. And that was how I began my journey. I wrote all the exams. I passed them. I passed them all in one sitting, except for one particular one. And that one is called SFM. It was just that one that I did not pass at one sitting. You understand? So, and what did I do? So what happened was that at that particular year, I was a senior associate in PwC, and I was responsible for auditing a very big bank. So I focused a lot on the work. So what I used to do, and that's why I explained commitment earlier on. What I used to do is that I will come to work 8 to 5, right? I will close. Then I used to live around where I worked. So I will close, I will go home, I will quickly read. Okay, I'll read between like 6 and 9. Then I will leave my reading and I'll go back to work. So I'll do work between 9 and maybe 1 a.m. Then I'll sleep. Then I'll wake up again and repeat that cycle. But you see, that sacrifice was just necessary for me to pass SFM. Are you getting it? So that was what I had to do to get it done, because I had a serious career job. If you're in the financial services industry, it takes your time,
Yes.
and then all I needed to do was to just have time to read. I could understand it. So, again, in the previous session, you talked about the various ways in which people learn. I want to quickly jump in here and say that understand your learning style is very, very vital. Some people like to learn in a class. Some people like to listen. Some people like to study on their own. And for some people, it's a mix of both. If it's a calculating course, you want to study by yourself. For some people like to be in a class for that. So for me, for SFM, I didn't believe that I needed to attend any class. In fact, I didn't go for any study. All I did was to just sit down and break it into modules, break it into pieces, and then learn it. And then one of the things I then started doing was that I would then set up what we call peer group learning in those days. And then I will come back and share what I've learned with some of my friends. Okay, and that was how I did it. And one of the things that was essential in PwC that also put a lot of pressure on me was the fact that you must reach a particular milestone of exam before you can move to the next phase. So if you're going to be a senior associate, you shouldn't be writing foundation. By then you should have cleared all your foundation. I think we've abandoned it now, if that's the case. But at that point in time, there was always some exam you must have covered before you move to your next phase. But over the years, one of the things I did to sort of separate myself from the anxiety of that is some of the things I've shared today, which is that just understand that you and this exam, you will have a relationship. Me, I am not going to fail this exam. Are you getting it? We are going to work this exam together, and we are going to get to the final point. But more importantly is for you to stay focused. Plan your life essentially. So for me, my journey, planning was very, very vital. I allocated time to everything during my exam years. So if I needed to read in the morning, I could wake up at 5, between 5 and 7, read what I need to read, get set for work and go. Then I also make time between 9 and 12 to read. I don't read at night. Doesn't work for me, but that's the kind of person I am. Yours might be the other way around. You work in the daytime, you don't read anything, and you read in the night and sleep in the daytime. Whatever works for you. But bottom line is that please plan your life, plan the way things, and then you succeed at it. So, for me, the most difficult part was when I got to the professional stages. And the only particular course I struggled with was SFM. And I don't know why, because it's my area. And one of the things that I learned from that process is that sometimes the familiarity you have in a particular area breeds some contempt. You just underestimate the course. It's like I found out that a lot of auditors fail auditing because they think it's like the software that they use in their offices for that is programmed to deal with auditing, right? So sometimes never underestimate a course because it's your area of interest. Instead, focus on the syllabus and try to bring your experience into the syllabus, and that way it's very easy for you to accomplish. So thank you very much for those two questions. I hope I've answered all your questions.
Yes, you've done above justice on it. And I mean, for me and my team, we say a big thank you to you. And I mean, we had a reason for bringing you in because I mean, you've worked PwC, a large organization, right? And you've gotten to, despite all the work difficulties that you mentioned, right? You are a senior student. I know how it is working in PwC and you have so much, especially in a bank, you have too much to do. But I mean, your life is still there, right? And you mentioned things like being committed, being focused, and sacrificing, knowing when to apportion that time, which is fantastic, and having a plan. So I mean, we say a big thank you to you, Mr. Didi. Thank you for your time. I know how busy you've been over the last couple of weeks. I will say thank you, sir. And yeah, all the best to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. Glad to be here. I appreciate everyone for listening. Have a very
Yes,
lovely
sir.
evening.
Yes, sir. So you guys just say thank you to Mr. Jide for us. Pedro is saying thank you, Mr. Jide. Oluwayemi say thank you, Mr. Jide. And thank you so much. And yeah, thank you so much from Abdul. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you so much. All right, sir. All right, sir. So I mean, we've come to the end of this, right? And I mean, thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for being a part of this program, right? And the Dolakwa will join us shortly. And I must tell you that, I mean, creating this conference came from a place of me failing a number of times, right? And realizing that people can actually do it better or easier, right? And now I've come to a place where we said, okay, you know what, let's bring in people that can help us. Let's bring in people that can speak to the minds of people. And I can tell you, just like Paul had an issue, Paul wrote a paper 5 times and he eventually got 85 in it. He could have written it once, right? He could have written it once. It was just that, I mean, a lot of things happened. He didn't just know some things, right? And I mean, while we were planning this conference and thinking about what we should help people to do, because we've seen that is a major burden, right? Welcome to Lakba. I mean, even in my workplace, some people will not get promoted because they don't have ICAN, right? So we decided, and we spoke to a lot of people. We had like 40 people that failed the exams before we did a survey, right? And we coached like 15 of them, and we asked them questions why they fail, what are the challenges they have, and we found out that we could put everything into a bucket and say, okay, these are the things. Maybe you don't have somebody to guide you. I mean, the speakers have mentioned things around having an accountability partner and having somebody that can hold you down, right? And I mean, me and my team, we decided that this is the way to go. Apart from just going to a tutorial center, we want to actually help people know how to pass and pass it easier. Like, I mean, on the average, it costs a lot of money if you do the calculation to write an exam more than once. And trust me, people write an exam way more than once. People write one exam 3 times. I know how much I know how much I spent writing my exam, writing advanced audits 5 times. A lot of money, right? And so we've come up with a very fantastic program, right? And that program, we have a lot of things that will help you to achieve. Apart from the accountability and coaching, right? We've gone to get people like Paul, people that have failed exams before, that know what it takes to actually help you pass a particular course like PM, right? So you'll be seeing people like Paul Adebayo and other people, right? And they'll be putting the product link, right, on the screen, right, which will it will show you have people that will hold your hands through this process. So I mean, if you come here, literally you would actually pass a course like PM or any other SFM course because you have people that have failed it before, that know how to do it, how to get it done, and I mean can guide you through that process. So I mean, the like what you gave, what do you think about it, and why does what we are doing mean so much to you? Maybe.
Well, thank you, Sheon. It means a whole lot, and I believe that if you subscribe to this product, you are going to like it's going to be one of the best decisions you have ever made, because just like he said, it saves you a lot of time, it saves you resources. Just like Mr. GJ just said, he said in 10 minutes you can get to understand something that someone has accumulated in 30 years. That's how it works. So this online course that we have for you will put you through everything you need to know to help you to scale through your exam and pass at one attempt, and it will save you a lot of cost. So you get to learn from the beginning to the end, and we're also going to like hold you by the hands throughout the period of writing your exams. All the things that we have talked about, the all things our speakers have said, you're going to learn more about them. You're going to learn how to actually even put them into use. Like you're going to learn the practical aspect on how to go through everything. So our product is well packaged for you, like you're going to enjoy it. It's value overload, and we've built it in such a way that it will not even stress you too much, and it's not going to be something that will take a very long time for you to complete. So if you subscribe to our product, you're definitely going to be grateful that you did. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so someone is asking a question about lecture videos. So see, Godwin, if you have a question, you can just pop it in the question. We'll answer it. So I mean, we have a partnership with the tuition house, right? It's called MPT, and in that tuition house, I mean, they have online courses, right? And the idea with the partnership is so that, I mean, apart from just showing the strategies, you'll be able to have a tuition house that we trust, right? And that tuition house, I mean, yesterday, they had like 28 people that qualified as chartered accountants, right? So we're having a partnership. In short, you even get a 5% discount if you come on our program, so that you work with them. And I mean, since we are all working together, it's very easy for us to guarantee your success. Trust me, because we start preparing for exams like 4 months, and we are partnering with Next Page Tutors, right? I mean, it's a very good tuition center. I've also taught there, right? And I mean, we've created that program to be able to help people. So, I mean, Dolapo Odukoya, what do you think? Or do you have anything to add? I mean, if I missed anything, Godwin, you can ask your question though.
Thank you very much, Shimon. So I missed you for a bit, so I don't know where you have covered or haven't covered. But I would just like to reiterate that just looking at our product plan and everything the speakers have said, we haven't missed anything out. From our first module, which is self-awareness and visioning, to our last module, which is accountability. We have reading techniques there, preparation techniques, and your success strategy. You would see that just from saying what they are, it has encompassed everything all the six speakers have spoken about today. That means we did our due diligence. We know what we are bringing to you. We have all gone through ICAN at one point in our life. Some are done with the battle, some are still in it. So we are coming with the same pain that you have when you take an exam and you fail again. So the way it's personal to you is the way it's personal to us, and we won't bring you something that wouldn't work. Just to encourage anybody that has doubts that this project will work. Once you key into it, you're accountable to yourself and you put in the necessary work that is expected, you will pass your ICAN exam at one sitting with our products. Thank you very much. That's all I
Yeah,
wanted
so
to
I
add.
mean, just to answer the questions, yeah, thank you so much, Dolapo. I really appreciate it. I mean, yes, I mean, MPT is a very good tuition house for PM, right? And I mean, it's just to give you a bit of insight, it's more like an online course that shows you all the strategies. So everything that people have said here about how to eat, what time to read, how to leverage yourself. I mean, it would help you know yourself better, and how to be able to know what time of the day to read, instead of you carrying out so many try and error and eventually failing and failing and failing, right? So it's like an online product. And I mean, after this session, we'll just play the product again, and we'll wrap up the session. So I mean, it's an online product with coaching, right? Every 2 weeks you have people that will speak to you, and you have discounts from a Next Page Tutor. So just check our page, becomechartered.com/products, right? I mean, is anybody interested in it, or does anybody have any question, or what do you guys think about it? Because I mean, this is
Hello.
literally what will guarantee you just writing your exam once and putting an end to it, right? Like I said, I wrote it 5 times, and if I knew better, I would have written it just once. So I mean, just jump on our program, becomechartered.com/product, right? And trust me. And for the audio and the video of this session, right? I mean, we've decided that we'll make it as a bonus for only those who pay for our product. I mean, you know the amazing things you've heard today. You know how to change your exam, right? So we've put it together as a bonus, and we will not be releasing this. Egbenga, you're interested? Yes. So just jump on the program and becomecharter.com/products, right? And you can easily reach me on LinkedIn if you have any other questions, right? Or on our email. Once you check the website, you will see, right? And I mean, you would only have access to these videos and all the amazing things you've heard today when you jump on the program, right? Because that's like a bonus. We have some other bonuses, which is making people accountable, right? Which is also, I mean, coaching people, like I've said. I mean, we also have thought leaders who have gone ahead that will speak on certain things like self-awareness, right? So beyond passing your exam, trust me, passing your exam is just like 1/5 of the entire thing you will get from this. It will just shift your mind into how people think on a higher level, how to achieve things, how to be better for yourself, how to have a plan for yourself, how to just excel at a new level, right? So, Benga, thank you for that one. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on the program. And any other person
Yeah.
that's interested, please just drop a chat. And I think the media can just play the product video lastly before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I would like to say something. John was asking a question saying that can the product key be sent to Telegram group, the Telegram channel? Yes, we'll drop the link to subscribe to the product on Telegram channel so that you can access it via that. Thank you, everyone.
So you can guys hear me?
I wrote skills exam for the first time and I failed theory paper. And at that point, I was like, okay, that is it. I'm not writing ICAN ever again. Down. I was sad. I was discouraged that I failed. Even after sacrificing or reflecting, I was really studying. I was just reading, and I still failed. I felt like a failure. I felt I couldn't do anything right. And that was actually my first time failing 3 exams at once. So yeah, that's my story.
So, Ayo, why do you think you failed?
I can see that bus is really wide here and it is very difficult to cover. So I just thought this part I thought were important. I just see the exam all and I can't share me. So some of the part that I didn't later study came out in the exam. Sad. Also, I didn't answer the questions in a professional way.
So, Ayo, how was the coaching session for you?
It was really nice. You also were coming at the beginning, and that allowed me to be very expressive, especially about my fears. I like that you give answers to some of the questions that had been bothering me. And you mentioned that it was possible to cover the syllabus, and it gave me a push to study harder. Yes.
We have some amazing bonuses for you, right? We have a virtual summit with one of the best speakers in the accounting profession in Nigeria, and trust me, we are just going to give you specifically this bonus, right, for our 3 sessions. We're not even going to make it public, right? We're just going to make it for just people that will pay for this course, and I'm happy you really be on this program, right? And also, you get 10% off to our preferred and recommended tuitionals, right? I've taught in these tuitionals before, and I understand the vision that they have, and I've seen the results they've done, and I can say, okay, these guys, we can go with them. So I'm giving you all that together, right? And you have a lot of clarity, even for your life, even for your career, even for many other things, right? And at the same time, we have some live interviews that we'll be doing with some top leaders in the profession, top leaders in the accounting profession in Nigeria, and we'll be putting that as a bonus too, and in some of our models, right? So, guys, honestly, I myself, my team, the coaches, and the top leaders say thank you, and we say welcome to becoming a chartered accountant as one attempt. Thank you.